a comment that was made on Facebook the other day about being a submissive woman. They were saying that a submissive woman controls her man, and I agree with that. I think until we begin to talk in honesty and transparency and stop pandering to both sides, especially to the sisters, because there is so much entitlement, and because men have been quiet for so long, and it's been the men that has been quiet were the type of men that y'all really need to be listening to. The men that doing the most talking ain't the ones, they don't have nothing to say anyway.
What's good? It's your boy Quay Price, man, holding it down for Kandid Konvos. Definitely check us out every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. People today, they lazy. Ain't nobody trying to put in no work. If stuff start getting a little rough in the relationship or in the marriage, ain't nobody trying to fix nothing. Like, I mean, that's how people's mindsets are today. Yeah, but that's how I know that folks don't truly understand what marriage was about, because they tap out way too easy. Yeah, you see people fight harder for a job, like they can't go get another one of them in 2 weeks. Yeah, she's talking about these guys coming to these foreign countries and sourcing out these foreign women because they possess these character traits. Yep, they're more cooperative when it comes to a man, or they're more cooperative when it comes to a marriage and a relationship. They're more, nurturing forward when it comes to a relationship. They're more I don't even want to use the word soft, but I'll use the word soft. They're softer when it comes to, these relationships and interactions with men and so forth. And like I said, we definitely got to be honest. We see a difference, right? We see a difference. And I think, Chloe and Tay made some good points earlier. A lot of this stuff is based around money over here in the West. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Kandid Konvos. I'm your host, Quay Price. We got Coco on deck. Say what's up to the people, Coco.
Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Yeah, shout out to y'all for joining us tonight. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that like button, smash that like button for us. Also hit that share as well. I said we want to get this great conversation out to as many of our people as possible. So definitely, let's say, smash that like button if you haven't already. All right, let me do this as well. Here's the link to join us on the panel. You can drop this in your Google Chrome, your Microsoft Edge. If you're coming through an Apple device, you got to use Safari. But yeah, join us on the panel. If you are going to come up on the panel, we do have to see you visually before we can let you up. So we just want to put that out there. So yeah, we got to see your face physically before we can let you up on the panel. And then to join us on the show. So yeah, here's the link to join us on the panel. We also have this link in all of the chat feeds as well. So you can catch it at the Kandid Konvos page on YouTube or Facebook, or you can shoot us a message and we'll send it to you that way as well. We'll lead us up here a little bit as we get into the conversation. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, that's JR right there. All right, cool. Let me see who's checking in tonight. Shout out to my guy Donovan. He said, "What up, though?" I'm gonna pull you off. Put you on mute for a sec, JR. Shout out to my guy Donovan. He said, "What up, though? What's going on, Donovan? Appreciate you joining us tonight, brother." Kenyatta in the building. She said, "Happy Wednesday." What's going on, Kenyatta? We appreciate you joining us tonight as well. I said, if you haven't already, hit that like button for us. Hit that like button for us. Shout out to my guy J.U. Griffin in the building. He said, "Much love, respect, and blessings to everyone." Appreciate you, J.U. holding us down, holding down YouTube for us tonight. Appreciate you, brother. All right, cool. Yeah, once again, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button for us. Hit that like button for us. Likes are free. So definitely smash that like button for us. All right. So I guess we're going to go and get right on to it tonight. We ain't going to hold it up. So yeah, anybody who needs this link, let me know. We'll put it back up, or let me know if you need it. We'll get it to you. All right. So topic for tonight, men always follow women. Man, y'all in some of these videos, man. Topic for tonight, men always follow women. I don't know if I like this title right here. I see you, Vince. All right, let me hold on, let me get my screen together. Circulate around. All right, cool. Okay. Well, I say y'all sent over a couple, so we're gonna hit them 1, 2, and 3, and see what y'all got. Let's see what we got.
Y'all think that y'all can go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum? You can be in the far right or the far left and not expect men to follow? Ladies, I want you to understand something very, very quickly. Men follow the trends of women. And I wish that if you understood this, that you would know how powerful a woman really is. When women started getting this super independent, I don't need no man mentality, what do men do? They started acting like that women didn't need no man, right? And of course, I'm not talking about all men. I'm just talking about the men who fall into that category. And you are INDEPENDENT, right? When you started doing all of that, what did the men do? They started getting a little bit sassier. They started getting a little bit more feminine. And again, that's because men follow the trends of women. So when you get to the point I'm talking about sprinkle, and using men for money and not loving them, right? And not wanting to have actual relationships with them, but them just taking care of you, them just tricking on you, essentially. What did you think was going to happen? They were going to follow the trend. Ladies, I wish you understood that if you wanted men to act a certain type of way, that you have the power to control that. And that's all I got to say about this. Y'all be safe. Yeah.
No, I ain't letting you off talk that quick. We're gonna run that back real fast.
Y'all think that y'all can go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum? You can be in the far right or the far left and not expect men to follow? Ladies, I want you to understand something very, very quickly. Men follow the trends of women. And I wish that if you understood this, that you would know how powerful a woman really is. When women started getting this super independent, I don't need no man mentality, what do men do? They started acting like that women didn't need no man, right? And of course, I'm not talking about all men. I'm just talking about the men who fall into that category. And you are INDEPENDENT, right? When you started doing all of that, what did the men do? They started getting a little bit sassier. They started getting a little bit more feminine. And again, that's because men follow the trends of women. So when you get to the point I'm talking about sprinkle, and using men for money and not loving them, right? And not wanting to have actual relationships with them, but them just taking care of you, them just tricking on you, essentially. What did you think was going to happen? They were going to follow the trend. Ladies, I wish you understood that if you wanted men to act a certain type of way, that you have the power to control that. And that's all I got to say about this. Y'all be safe. Yeah.
Interesting. So we talking tonight. Men always follow women. Was that JR? Who was that?
Yeah, that was me. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Mr. Price, end the stream. Conversation done. She said it all.
Man, did she, man? I gotta get down to the bottom of this, man. I need to understand something. Let me hold that thought. Let me is that beatboxing on that beatbox? You gotta show us real fast, man, before we can let you up. There you go. All right, we got you. All right, cool. So yeah, so we talking men always follow women. So everybody drop a comment in the comments. Let me know what y'all say. So let me check in with the panel, man. I'm trying to understand what I just saw. JR Coco. Well, I see Coco. Go ahead. We're gonna let you get the first shot at it. Go ahead.
I mean, JR been trying to tell y'all. He been trying to tell y'all all 2024. He tried to tell y'all that the women needed to come back inside first. He been trying to tell y'all that.
He has.
He been trying to tell y'all that. And I just want to apologize to JR because you was right. You was right. See, in 2024, I was still in a little bit of denial, but my new motto for 2025 is we're not in denial anymore. We're not living in delusion anymore. The Lululand is closed. So you were right. I don't think that women understand that the thing that you guys are demanding from men so bad, you already have it. You just don't know you have it because you too busy trying to be like men. You don't truly understand the power of a feminine woman. If you understood the power of a feminine woman, then you wouldn't be on social media every other second talking about men this and men that. You would have the man that you desire. You would have the life that you desire. It really is. It's simple. It may not be easy, but it is simple. And you would have the life that you want with the man that you want if you weren't so busy trying to be the man that you want. That's the problem. You said you were independent. So man was like, okay, y'all don't need us. Cool. We're going to go over here and do our own thing. Men, go your own way. That's what you said, right? Y'all said y'all didn't need men. So men were like, okay, cool. We're not going to beg you. We're not going to beg you. Especially the men now, they hip to the game. They're not going to beg you. They're just going to move around. Period. So if you want the men to come to the table ready to do the things that you feel men should do, or really honestly ready to do the things they've always been trying to do, then you need to come to the table prepared to do the things that you're supposed to be doing. Period. It really is simple, ladies. I promise you it is. The problem is you're chasing the wrong things. Your priorities are not where they should be. And now you're upset with men because they don't want to assimilate to what you are doing. They're just going in the opposite direction. So you independent, cool. You don't need us. We gone. When you start stepping back into your role, and I don't mean subservient. We never said that. Who said that? Nobody said you needed to be a slave. Nobody said you needed to be, a subservient or that you're a second-class citizen. Nobody did that. You put yourself in that. Nobody ever said that. Men are not asking you to do that. They just asking you to get on the program. That's it. So, she's absolutely 1000% correct. Now, I wouldn't use the word control. Women have the ability to control it. I wouldn't use that word, and I'm not even a word Nazi, but I wouldn't use that word. What I would say is women have the ability to influence what men do. Women do have influence over what men do, the decisions that they make, just like men have influence over what we do. Period. So she's right.
Okay, well, I see based on what you saying, we just about to give JR all the credit for this. Like he just been spot on this whole time. So I see that's what we about to do. Let me check in with the rest of the panel. Vince, beatboxer, JR. Y'all want to say anything or y'all good right now? Anybody just come off mute, say what you want to say. Beatboxer, JR, y'all good?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll jump in. Yeah, Mr. Price, I've been telling you, man, you ain't shit, Mr. Price. Right? And this ain't to say, like, I will say this, right?
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
This ain't to take accountability off men, right? Off the men, right? But the problem is that the ladies seem to, um, not understand it is this, right? If I make the general statement, ladies, close your legs, because they're claiming that men should be leaders, right? They understand that when it's time to understand that men should be leaders, up until men decide to be leaders. Cool. Now, we understand, yeah, just a basic example. Men are the ones that are going to pursue women for sex. We know this. The women aren't going to pursue men. Of course, there's some, but not the majority, right? They're going to pursue who they want, right? But 9 times out of 10, it's the man that's pursuing the lady for sex. So we can't say to men, hey, men, stop chasing women for sex. Mr. Price, it's just not going to happen. Okay? It's just not going to happen. So here's how it goes.
Stop the
If
cap.
I say, ladies, close your legs, like Miss Price said, the message is simple, but it's not easy to do, right? Because people are people. But the reality is that if ladies close their legs, ain't no man having sex. Then guess what, Mr. Price? We can't sit here and say, hey, ladies, you've got a part to play in this. Because by default, men are going to be held accountable. Why, Mr. Price? Because it's us that's going to pursue the ladies for sex. So if the ladies say no, and there's only one other way that a man can take that from a lady, and we know it's the negative side of it, right? Everything falls on the man being a leader. So, ladies, close your legs. I can't have sex. That don't benefit me by giving you that message. But if I say, hey, don't close your legs, I'm giving you a bad message.
Man, hold on, JR. Let me say this, man. I don't know if I like how you coming at me tonight, bro. I don't know if I like this, man. This seem a little personal.
Boy,
Man.
ain't no way,
know.
boy.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I like this, man. But you know what? I'm gonna go inside with you tonight, JR. You've been riding with us for a minute. I'm gonna go inside with you tonight. Yeah, this is interesting right here. This is interesting right here. let me let me get some of these comments, and I'm coming back to the panel. Let's see. Jay, you said, did she just brag about using men for their money? Yeah, she did. I think I heard that, JU. I think I heard that. Yeah, she did. She did. Let's see. Donovan said the power of the man. You already know. You already know, Donovan. You ain't even gotta. I don't know if that's English. I don't know what the French. I don't know what that is. But yeah, you already know. Let's see. Shout out to my guy Winford in the building. He said, "Let's see. We definitely aim to please them." Yeah, there's some validity to that. Some validity to that. Let's see. Winford also said they have the biggest influence over men beyond money and things. Okay, I feel that. Also, shout out to Eva Wright in the building. She said, "Happy Wednesday." What's going on, Eva Wright? Appreciate you. Appreciate you hopping on with us tonight. All right. So let me circle back to this video. Let me say this. I don't think that the young lady is completely off. All right. So I think she got some valid points in the video that she made. Just a couple things that I don't like from a context perspective. So the point that she made about women essentially set these trends and the men follow. I don't subscribe to that. Yeah, I don't think it's the men following. What I do think is happening is the men are responding. Yeah, I think the men are responding to some of the trends. So, going back to her example, if a young lady represents that she is independent and does not need the assistance of a man, then the man is just going to say, all right, you got it. And he going to keep it moving. Yeah, but that's a lot of what we're seeing today. But then at the same time, what we are also seeing is some of those same ladies are now spinning the block, trying to figure out why men are not trying to holler, why men are not approaching, why men are not engaging, engaging on them and so forth. So it's like, once again, you can't have it both ways. So I don't know if I can just call that a woman setting a trend and then a man following. It's almost like, let's call it what it is. You playing games. that's really what that is. Yeah, because don't get out here and push the narrative that you don't need men and you independent and you got to figure it out. But then you want to be on social media posting video after video talking about, man, where the men at? Yeah, we're the masculine men. I've been seeing that, ladies posting where, I can't find the masculine men. And I'm like, man, they asking for masculine men now. Go figure. But yeah, they having a hard time finding masculine men and all of this stuff. So yeah, I do think men will respond to certain trends, or they'll react to people, some of the actions or some of the behaviors from the ladies. But I don't think these ladies are setting no trends. Well, hold on. Let me say this. I will say this. I do think that, yeah, let me backtrack. I do think there are some things that guys will follow that ladies will set. So I'm talking in two different contexts. The first one, this is a man responding to what he sees from a woman, but I do see some things, these ladies like, yeah, I like a dude with these jeans on, and these jeans be super tight. Then you start seeing fellas rocking these jeans, squeezing all the blood all up out their leg. And I'm like, bro, when fellas start doing that? But I know that's because ladies are saying, oh, I like this, I like that. Yeah, so I will say this. There are some things that ladies can trend set that dudes will follow. So yeah, let me retract my statement. It requires context though. Yeah, I just don't think that's a across the board scenario, right? The other thing I will say is the young lady made a point about the women recognizing their power. I do think that she is accurate in that. Yeah, I do think that women do possess a power over men, but I do think at the same time, they're not, let me put it this way. I don't think that they're strong enough to use it. Yep, and what I mean by that is a lot of young ladies, and even some men for that matter. But I know I'm making a point around ladies right now. A lot of young ladies are not strong enough to put themselves in the state of vulnerability that's needed to be feminine. They ain't strong enough to do it. Yeah, you have to be a certain type of woman with a certain level of strength to be able to put yourself in a state of vulnerability and actually live in your feminine space. Yeah, but if we're gonna be honest, a lot of folks can't handle that. Yep, a lot of folks today can't say to themselves, I'm gonna fall back and let this man handle it. That is a struggle. Yep, I'm gonna fall back and let this man handle the money. That is a struggle for a lot of ladies out here today. Yeah, I'm gonna fall back and trust this man with everything we got going on. That is a struggle for a lot of ladies today. And then at the same time, we got some men. They're not strong enough to take their position. Yeah, we got some fellas out here making some money. We got some fellas out here, doing some things. But when somebody say, I need, you got to put it all on your back and walk with it. Some of these fellas can't handle it. Yeah, we're going to be honest. So yes, when she talks about that power of women, yeah, that power does exist. But is the woman in question strong enough to handle that power? Yeah, but I think that's where we're going to see the issue. But I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Let me get this comment. Let's see. Winfrey said, because toxic masculinity has been thrown around so much in recent years, there's been an overcorrection with men's response in the dating space. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, I think masculinity has been under attack for a little while now. Yep, it's been under attack for a little while now. But now I'm seeing little peaks of, you know, ladies now saying they want that back. Now they looking for the masculine man. Now they looking for the you know, provider protectors and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, where was that at a few years ago? So no, you're right about that, Winfred. I said there's definitely there's definitely attack, you know, on masculinity. I said that's where that whole label of toxic came from. Yeah, because being masculine is not toxic. Yeah, so I know that was a narrative being pushed. Yeah, being masculine and holding it down has never been toxic. So I don't know where we got that from. But let me check in with the panel again. Vince, Beatbox, y'all got anything yet? Are y'all good so far? Okay. All right, cool. Okay, I just wanted to check real quick. So yeah, that was my position on her in video number 1. I got a couple more down here. You got anything, Coco? Go ahead.
I'm gonna add, yeah, I think that you might have stumbled upon something when you said that.
Go ahead.
Part of the problem is women not being strong enough. And you guys, excuse me, I got a little something going on, so my voice might sound kind of funny, but I think that we have to kind of dig into that a little bit. And I'm gonna say this because to truly live in your feminine power, and I'm gonna try to say this correctly, but just try to hear where I'm going with it and hear my heart behind it. To live in your feminine power, you actually have to submit in order to be powerful. And I think that's the problem that women have. It actually is power. Your submission is powerful. But I think that women are having a hard time reconciling the two, right? That submitting is actually what makes you powerful, because they don't understand that is your strength on display, right? They don't understand that part because it does take a certain level of trust and a certain level of, vulnerability. And this, I know we're not on this topic. I know we're not on this, but I have to touch this since we're talking about trust. Okay. So I'm just going to say the thing that y'all probably not expecting me to say. Okay. Just stay with me. This is why y'all can't climax. That's it. This is why, ladies. This is why you can't. I'm going to tell you why you can't. Because you can't let go. You want to control. You can't submit. You want the power. You want to dominate, not be dominated. And that's why you can't let go. You can't let go in your mind. And so your body can't let go. That's why. That's the problem. And you guys don't understand that. And until you get to that point, you're going to be in these relationships and in these marriages telling someone, I can't climax. I can't. Sis, if you want to live your life like that, you go right ahead. But let me give you the key. You have to trust that man. You have to be able to be vulnerable with him. You have to be able to submit. Your lack of submission is showing up in other areas of your life.
That's real.
So get with it, ladies. It's not a bad thing. It's okay, I promise. You just have to pick a man that is worthy of your trust. You have to pick a man that you can be vulnerable with. You have to pick a man that you can trust will not harm you in these spaces. That's part of the problem. You guys are picking the wrong men. You're procreating with the wrong men. And then you're running around here talking about men have ED, men can't do this, men can't satisfy, men can't. That 30-year-old man does not have ED, baby girl. It's you. It's you. He don't have ED. It's you, right? Like he likes you. He wants to do the deed, like JR said. He wants to do the deed. But then you open up your mouth and you start talking. And then people go, whoo, whoo, whoo.
Hold on, now, I ain't about to let that go
It's
right there.
gone.
The pee goes. Burp, burp, burp.
He can't. It's not. It's. He wants to. He definitely wants to.
For sure.
But just like you say, you have to be stimulated. There's an emotional piece for you. There's a this. There's a that. Like while men are not emotional in the same ways that we're emotional, baby girl, if you are not talking to this man right, if you're not showing him any respect, he's not going to be able to get there with you. He's not. It's just not going to happen. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's not ED, it's you.
Okay. Well, let's say we're gonna leave that.
The pee goes. Burp, burp, burp.
Hey, sometimes that's where the show got to go. Let's say we run from no topics on this show, so sometimes we got to veer off and get to it. So for anybody who needed to hear that right there, let's say we're gonna make sure y'all get this information, because I think this is important right here. You want to say something, Vince? I saw you come off, man.
Yeah, because Chloe just sparked something in me. I like being in these conversations and in these spaces, because people always ask me, well, Vince, you married. Why are you in these dating and relationship spaces? Well, I'll say, well, I'm still dating my wife. This is not the end.
Nope.
This is just the beginning of our relationship. This is the beginning of us learning each other. And I'm the type of person that I like information. As much as, and I was listening to a guy. I sent you a clip of this Professor X. I don't know if you got a chance to listen to any of his stuff. And he was talking about he was married for 20 years, and him and his wife were never on the same page. And he said that they never talked about it, but once they got a divorce, they were able to talk a little bit about certain things. And he was saying that we have to really delve deep into our childhood trauma. And I know those words are used a lot, and I know it's cliche, but that is so important, because he said that he was a certain type of guy, and her mother, I'll make a long story short, her mother had abandoned her when she was very young, had left the home for like 3 or 4 years, just boom, left. And he said that they had got into an argument, and he left just to cool down. He was only gone for about 3 or 4 hours, and then he came back, and he said that they could never get a solution to the conversation, but he didn't know that that was a trigger for her, abandonment. And so he didn't know that, well, maybe I shouldn't have left. Maybe I should have went into another room, because she has an issue with being abandoned. It's just like with me and my wife. It's certain things that happened in my childhood that, like, I don't like when she points her finger in my face talking, because my mother did that, and my mother was 4'11", I'm 5'8", but that's the way she kind of got me to get in line.
Right.
And I told her I don't like that. I know that you might not think it's a big thing, but it's a big thing. And there's certain things that I do and she do, because she was raised in a certain type of household. So I understand that maybe those things are triggering. So I think we really have to have really deep conversations and really learn our partner. And I hate to use love language, because that's cliche too, but you really have to delve deep in how someone receives love, how someone views love, and how they really are. Because I'm like, how can you be with somebody for 20 years and never be on the same page?
Yeah.
But I hear that a lot. Well, we grew apart. Well, you never grew together. Because some people feel like, oh, you married, then you shouldn't talk about anything, or you shouldn't do this, because that's the end. You married now. But if you don't really have conversations with your wife and your husband, understand who they are and how they love, then you won't progress.
Right. Yeah. No, that's facts, man. And I think, some of that is because folks lose sight of what these really, what this stuff really is, right? We're talking about relationships. Yeah. So if somebody is just in the dating phase, if somebody is exclusive, if somebody's married, it's still a relationship. So you're supposed to be relating. like Like, as simple as that sounds, like you're supposed to be relating. Yeah, you're supposed to still be dating. You're supposed to be learning stuff about the next person. You know, Vince, you brought up, you know, the fact of you know, you not liking it, you know what I'm saying, when Remy you know, saying something to you and she point the finger. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, me myself, I got triggers like that too. I don't like nobody calling me sweetheart. Like, I don't like that. Because it's like, you know what I'm saying, as a guy, I got a name. You know what I'm saying? I got some nicknames along my family. But I know that there's some stuff behind when, you know, a young lady decides all of a sudden she want to call you sweetheart or honey or some stuff like that. It's like, hold up. So yeah, I got things that I don't like. But see, that's a part of the process. You're supposed to learn these things about your, you know, your significant other or whoever you in a relationship with. It doesn't stop once the commitment is made. Yeah, because now at that point you still got to relate. Yeah, this is somebody, you know what I'm saying, most likely, if done right, you're gonna be with the you know, for the rest of your life. Yeah, so it doesn't just stop because the commitment is made or the rings is exchanged or however you want to look at it. It's more to it. Yep, and I think that's, you know, an additional piece that a lot of folks don't understand the importance of, and that's essentially doing the work. Yeah, it's like a lot of these conversations that I'm in today, there's a lot of instances of folks just not wanting to do any work. Yeah, it's like nobody wants to do anything. Yeah, it's like the dude is saying, hey, you know, this is what I like, or this is what I'm into. The young lady is saying, no, accept me as I am. It's like, hold on. My man trying to, you know, he trying to see a little something. He trying to be, you know, attracted or whatever, however you want to call it. Like, what's wrong with improving yourself to benefit the both of y'all? Yep, for some of the men, you know what I'm saying, the young lady may be saying, hey, I want you to, you know, I want you to get your, you know, get your little business popping, or I want you to do this and do that. And dude's like, nah, I ain't about to. And it's like, man, just go and put that work in. That's going to benefit you and the family, bro. But it's like nobody wants to put in any work. It's like everybody want to sit back and just want somebody ready made. And it's like, that ain't how it work. Yeah, the relationships that stand the test of time involved work. And it typically started from two people that was a work in progress. Yeah, but typically it didn't happen from somebody who was already at the finish line. Yeah, but that's that mentality that we've taken on today, and then wonder why, you know what I'm saying, our little relationships be out here collapsing. Yeah, wondering why folks can't stay married over a year or so. Like, it's this the mentality and the way we look at things now. Listen, this is why we see some of the outcomes that we see. Yeah, because cats just don't want to put in no work. Yeah, you know, to your point, Vince, you know, I was checking out that video you sent over, and I'm like, all of them years, yep, all of them years, and y'all ain't synced up in all of them years. Like, what's going on? Yeah, but you know, once again, people get in these situations, they get comfortable, you know, it becomes routine. You know, you stop keeping it exciting. You know, you say you stop with the little jokey jokes, you know, you stop with the little smack on the booty when you walk past your lady. And next thing you know, 20 years done passed, and you don't know nothing more than what you knew 20 years back. But you got to do the work. Yeah, but I'm not saying the work got to be strenuous. It can be fun work, but you got to do the work. You got to put the effort in if you really want to have something. Yeah, but I think that's where it starts. You really got to decide up front. Do you really want to have something worth having? Yeah, but once you know what I'm saying, can answer that question definitively, then it's on from there. Let me get this comment, then I'm gonna move us on. Let's see. Donovan said, man, I know some folks want to learn their mate's childhood traumas and use them as wild. Let's see. Let me read that back. Make sure I understand this. Man, I know some folks want to learn their mate's childhood traumas and use them as wild cards in arguments to manipulate the upper hand. Yeah, no, for sure. So I know some of that's going on. This is, you know, and I've heard some instances of guys saying that. You know, guys taking a position of, this is why, you know what I'm saying, I won't be vulnerable with my lady like that, because she, once I give it his information, she throw it back at my face, you know, 2 weeks later after we get done arguing, and hold it against me and all this and all of that. And that's a problem. That is a problem that we definitely have to correct. Yeah, but at some point there has to be a point if we want to have successful relationships, that each party has to be able to feel comfortable to be transparent with what they're dealing with. Yeah, but it can't be leveraged against them later. Yeah, that's not a good look. Yeah, because what I don't want to see or don't want to happen is folks just get to a point where they just hold these things in. Yep, it bottles up and then somebody crash out here. Yeah, because that's what we see now. Folks just hold this stuff in. Hey, I can't let my lady know this. Hey, I can't let my dude know this. They hold this mess in and then they eventually end up crashing out. So yeah, once again, we really got to think about how we treating each other, how we going about interacting with each other. And I think if we really put some priority around that, we will start to see some differences in these situations, if we be honest, if we willing to do the work. That's the key. All right, let me go to video number 2. Let's see. I got two going. My man on this one, he going back old school, so we're gonna see.
Unpopular opinion. Our fathers, grandfathers, uncles, they were not better providers than men are today. They just lived in a time where life was a lot easier. And I'm going to break this down because I hate to see people comparing the two without giving context. So for context, in 1990, the average mortgage payment in America was $650. Today, the average monthly mortgage payment is $2,500. That's almost a 4x. The average rent price in America in 1990, it was $370. The average rent price today is $2,000. That's a 5x. The average home price in 1990 was $120,000. The average home price today is $420,000. That's 3.5 times more. The average car payment with insurance in 1990 was $230. The average car payment with insurance today is $730. That's a 3x. Meanwhile, the average income in 1990 was $30,000. Today, the average income is $55,000. That's not even a 2x. It hasn't even the average income hasn't even doubled, and that's in 35 years. In 1990, on average, people were paid $2,500 a month. Today, the average person gets around $4,200 a month. So once again, that number hasn't even doubled. The average minimum wage in 1990 was $4. The average minimum wage today is $7.25. Once again, it hasn't doubled. So comparing somebody today to somebody in the past is like comparing to someone playing a video game on Hall of Fame to somebody that's playing a game on easy mode with the sliders up. So there's really no comparison, but people, they really lack understanding of this basic thing. And I know a lot of people, they're going to say, well, they just need to leave their jobs, find better jobs and make more money. And I agree with that largely. I do think people need to up their skill sets so they could be better and bigger earners. At the same time, people say those things without understanding how the economy and how ecosystems work. These jobs that people down talk and consider low wages, these jobs are what makes the country go round. How you get your food, the clothes that's on your back, the building you live in, the people that's teaching your kids, the cars we drive in.
All right, I'm gonna cut my man short because I know you ready to run. You ready to run off. All right. So we into the second one. My man is saying that guys back then, and I know he gave some stats, but he's saying guys back then were not better providers than the guys today. So I gotta see what y'all say on this. Coco, I see you came straight off beatboxing. You want to? Okay. So I'm gonna let Coco go. Okay, go ahead, Coco. Then I'm gonna come to beatbox. You want to say something?
Listen. I mean, this is not meant to be offensive, but is he a Gen Zer? Because I kind of get tired of this particular argument. Like, I'm a millennial as well, except I'm an older millennial. I'm an early 80s millennial, right? So I look at this and I go, this is such a tired argument, and it's completely irrelevant. It's irrelevant because he compared the 90s, right? The generation of families that were affording those homes and those cars that he said were so much cheaper than they are now, they were saying the same thing because once again, that's the cycle. So their parents and grandparents, they could go back and say, oh, they had it so much easier than us because houses were 5 cents then. And, the average, salary was 15,000. And we could keep this argument going every generation over generation because things are going to continue to increase. Right now, we're living in a time where these are some of the most aggressive inflation stats that we've seen in a long time, right? So I will give him that. This is definitely economically, this is a tough economical environment for us to be in. But I think comparing it to what was then is not really a true picture because that was a lot of money for them. If you're saying that the average income was $30,000, but then you ran down all of that money they have to pay out, you ran down, the mortgage prices being around what did he say, $600 or something like that, and then you ran down, a car note of $200 something, and you ran these things down, but you just said the average household income was $30,000. That's gross. That's not net. So it's like you're making. Do you understand what you're saying? Basically, they weren't making a ton of money. They weren't. Right? So $600 to you today doesn't sound like a lot of money. You know why? Because you make more. But $600 to someone who makes $30,000 on top of the expenses for raising a family, which you did not mention, it probably was difficult for them to provide. The point is, it's always going to be a challenge for men to provide. It's never going to be easy for men to be providers. From my perspective, as a non-male, I think the difference that I would talk about is they just seem to complain less. I see a lot of complaining from the younger generations. And this is not an attack. I'm just speaking on what I see. If we can have younger generations say that generations that came before them had it easy and this and that, and then okay, then I can say that I see a lot of the younger generations complaining. I see a lot of entitlement. I see a lot of now, listen, if the shoe don't fit, don't put it on. But I see a lot of entitlement. I see a lot of, we want our working environments to be what we want them to be. That is something that I feel like the youth that come behind us while they're complaining about us, they don't understand that we had to go through a whole lot for them to be in the position that they're in, to be able to make the kinds of demands that they make. We couldn't make the same kind of demands. We didn't even have the same amount of opportunities. My son, who only has a couple more years in high school, will come out and he doesn't have to go work for a company if he doesn't want to. I'm going to be honest. He can go, do DoorDash. He can go do this. He can go do that. He can put his stuff through school. All these other opportunities and things where he can make his own schedule. He can be flexible. He can get paid every day. These are opportunities that he has available to him that I didn't have his age coming out of high school. There was no content creation that you got paid for then. There was no influencer. There was no UGC. There was not all of these opportunities that our youth have. So if we want to do that, we can go back and forth. We can have the older generation saying, okay, well, you're saying we had it easier because things were a little cheaper. Okay. Cheap to you. It wasn't cheap to us because we're looking backwards at our parents and grandparents going, man, they was paying $20,000 for a house. We're paying $150,000, and that's a starter home price. So don't get me wrong. I understand the plight that you're in. I get it. And I'm not even trying to take that away from you, but to compare it and say, oh, you had it easier. Like, I think that's kind of is downplaying the work and the effort that they had to put in. Is downplaying the struggles that they had individually. Is downplaying the progress that they made that allows you to now be in a position to talk about how much easier they had it. That's where the entitlement comes in. Because you are now in a position to talk about how easy they had it because of what they did in order for you to now feel like it was easy for them. They must have did a good job. They made it seem like it was easy. You watched them struggle. You didn't think they were struggling. You just didn't know. So you called it easy. And now you're living this life and you're saying it's so much harder. And I'm like, how about we do this? How about we respect their struggle and then respect your struggle? Because it's unique. It's unique. The challenges that they had were and will be unique compared to the challenges that this generation has and the generations that come after. They all will have their unique challenges. They will all have their cross to bear. The generation, it's like y'all not even looking ahead. The generation that come after you guys, that you guys are now working and you're making advancements and you're making it easier for the generation that comes after you. And they're going to look back to you guys and say, oh, that generation messed us up. They had it easy. They're going to be saying the same thing about you. That's what y'all don't understand, because the cycle just continues. Meanwhile, nobody's trying to understand the other person and what they went through. All we're thinking about is how it affects us. That's why I say it's entitlement. Because in order for me to be in the position that I'm in, right, I'm standing on the backs of the people that came before me. They had to go through that so that now there's a better way for me. And I guess I just feel like now maybe it's because I'm a parent and I'm a parent to older children. I look back now and I go, dang, like I have so much more respect for what they had to, the experience they had to live, because now I'm living this experience. So, you know, maybe that's just me, but I don't really like when we get in these conversations where we compare generations, because we all have such unique experiences. Like, I mean, it's just kind of crazy. It's crazy to me, but I'll land.
Okay, well, let me I know Beatbox over here going through it right now.
Oh my God!
Go ahead, Beatbox. Come on off, man. Get it off your chest, man.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing good. I'm going to push back. So I'm a younger millennial. I'm close to the Gen Z, right? So, right. I'm not going to parrot what the other guys, what the guy in the video said. But listen, I graduated with an economics and political science degree, and also, just to be fair, to let y'all know, my political ideals, especially on economics, is just right of Bernie Sanders, right? So I just want to give you the context of where I'm coming from. But listen, one, Coco, you mentioned the entitlement. Well, entitlement doesn't come out of a vacuum, you know, like the older generations were just as entitled. That's why you have things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all these things that were created before us, i.e. entitlements. So older generations didn't necessarily work for that and got free passes for certain things. It's harder nowadays. Wages and income hasn't gone with inflation. So you have a big problem where inflation, which is just a natural thing in economics, it just happens, right? People complain about it all the time, but wages have not followed with it. So it's going like this for about 50 to 60 years, and nobody's been. I don't even want to go into the politics stuff because I don't even want to go there. All I'm saying is that this has not been addressed. On top of college, which is a gateway for a lot of people to climb the economic ladder, it's been more and more expensive as well. Like you're paying 10 times more what you would pay. There's so many things going on, and now our generation has to compete with women in the workforce, right? That wasn't really that wasn't as much of a deal back then. So you have more people in the workforce. Oh, and older people aren't dying off the way they used to, right? So you have older people in the workforce who are boomers, who are staying in the workforce, who aren't retiring. You have younger people
working longer.
Working longer. There's younger people who can't get into the jobs that they should. Well, how it used to be. So you have this log jam. You have a lot of things happening all at one time, right? I'm not complaining about it because it just is what it is, right? And at the end of the day, there's not going to be the same sort of provider role that it used to be in the 90s, right? So sometimes when women complain about, I think it goes back to the last video, where the masculine men who are going to provide. Well, hell, some of y'all are going to be providers, ladies. I mean, it just is what it is. You're the man that you wanted to be. I mean, it is what it is. So, and some of y'all just got to do 50-50. Some of y'all got to do 80-20, whatever. That's again, whole nother conversation. But a lot of my generation and younger are complaining because it seems as though older people are like, well, you just have to suck it up. You know, every generation has, I guess we can say that we can respect each other's struggle, but everybody's struggle is unique and it's just worse. It just is. So if the older generation wants to like say like, well, you guys are complaining a lot. Well, yeah, to a degree, it's a lot worse. And the older generation to a degree made it worse. So what are you going to do to fix it? Or we can fix it, whatever. Like it just is what it is. So, like I said, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Am I a homeowner? I am. Is my life okay? It is. But for most people I know, most people who are younger millennials can't own a home. That's a way to build wealth. That means a lot of us are going to be stuck, not be able to build wealth. There's going to be a lot of my generation who have certain degrees where you could have had a degree back in the day that's basket weaving. You could have gotten like a great job in the government. Can't do that now. You're screwed. So I'm just saying, some people have to work 2 or 3 jobs to just make ends meet. And then you have on the other side, I will give Coco this. You have a lot of people, regardless of the generation, who are in a bunch of debt, who are buying cars they can't afford, who buying houses they really can't afford, who are having children when they're not supposed to have children. So I'm just saying, like, I'm very reasonable. I understand that there's one aspect it's hard, but on a lot other aspect, people just do things that are stupid. And like, hey, well, you kind of put yourself in that economic stronghold. So you can't be like, oh, it's harder, and then say, oh, but I just bought a Mercedes. Well, you're an idiot. So that's your fault. So.
But imagine being a boomer. Imagine being a boomer and not being able to retire. Like you said, they're not retiring. It's because they can't. They can't. So this Social Security that you're talking about, right? Like, I agree. I guess the first people who was able to, I don't know when it first was implemented, so I'm not going to do that with y'all. I'm not going to even try to do that with you guys. But I guess the first people who had the opportunity to collect this said Social Security did definitely benefit off of taxpayers because they didn't put into it, whatever the case may be. But generations since, we have been paying into this. Imagine being an older millennial and knowing, and I know you guys know this too, it's going to affect you as well, that it's not going to be any for you. It's not going to be any for us. So we're paying into a system we're not even going to be able to benefit from. So imagine being a boomer, though. You're right. They're not retiring because they don't want to. They're not retiring because they can't. So while we were saying, oh, it was so much easier for them, was it really? If you've gotten to this point and you can't even retire respectfully at your age, was it really easy for you? Or were you doing some of the same things that we're saying that young people are doing now? They're in debt, buying cars that they can't afford, homes that they probably couldn't afford, sending their kids to school, but they really couldn't afford it, making that $30,000 a year. They were making the same decisions we're making right now. The economy definitely looked different for them. I'll give you that. But they also was living beyond their means because, like you said yourself, the wages were not comparable to the economy and what we were paying out, right? They never really were. They never are. So in that situation, this is why I go back to respecting each other's struggle, because you guys have a different struggle than the generation before you had. And the generation before them had a completely different struggle than that generation had. We all have something that we're going to have to contend with generation over generation. And so we look back and we go, well, it's your fault. You did this, you did that. We have no idea what their lived experience was. We had no idea what they had to go through. We have no idea what it felt like for them. We can look back from our Ivy Tower and say, you could have did this differently. And if you would have made this choice, and if you would have made these decisions, we wouldn't be where we are. And I guess I just feel like, why don't we start by examining our choices? Some of y'all going to college. I know y'all want to go. Y'all can't afford it. You shouldn't go. I'm going to say the thing I told y'all, 2025 gloves is coming off. I'm just going to say the thing I'm not supposed to say. Y'all shouldn't have been in college. You couldn't afford it. You couldn't. You probably should have been the one that went to that trade school and got you a skill and then got a job. Because like you said, y'all are going to school and a lot of y'all are getting them basket weaving degrees. And then you leaving with debt. And then you can't even get a job in the field that you got the basket weaving degree for. And now degrees aren't even a requirement for a lot of places. But now you're carrying debt. And then some of y'all double down and go back. And you get another degree. And you get another one. So at some point, we also have to start looking at our own choices and stop blaming everybody else. You're right, B-Boxer. You didn't have to get pregnant before you were financially ready and before you had a partner, a real partner that was going to raise that child with you. You didn't have to do that. That was your decision. Don't complain now about how hard it is. You know you couldn't afford that Benz. You should have had a Fusion. That's what you should have had. That's why you got that $792 car note. Let's talk about it. Every car note ain't $792. It's not. You probably should have went to the B lot and got you a $10,000 car, bought cash. That's probably what you see. We making decisions. And then when they don't work the way that we want them to, then we go, it's so much harder. So like, what really is it? Because we're not going to do that. We're not living in Delulu land anymore. The generations that came before us did what they had, the best that they could with what they had. A lot of them weren't even as educated as we are. That's another thing to think about. So, I mean, I get it. I understand we looking for a reason, but I think we need to look no further than in the mirror first. That's where we're gonna find a lot of answers.
That's real right there. That's real right there. Let me I gotta put this to Vince right here. So this was a question that Winfred put up. I'm trying to hold on one second. Let me make sure so this was around stepping back a little bit. This is when we was talking relationships, and I was talking about putting in work in these relationships. So Winfred put this question up. He said, how do you convince people to put in work? What part of our society pushes that? So I'm gonna put this straight to Vince. So Vince, how do you convince people to put in work in their relationships? Like what you think the best way to go about doing that? How you get them to want to put in that work?
I don't think you could convince people to do anything, and I think that's the problem with me a lot of times. Is I want more for people than what they want for themselves. I think they have to want it for themselves. They have to want a good relationship. They have to want a good marriage. But I think that we it's a cultural thing. A lot of times the problems that we have is cultural. Even when we speak about the providers. Now I'm 52, so I will go back to my grandparents' generation. That was the first generation that came from maybe the South that migrated to the bigger cities. They understood that they couldn't do it alone. So first of all, you had family. So we got together sooner, we got married sooner, we were more intentional, and maybe a 21, 22-year-old married couple could stay with the parents for a couple years to save. He would go to the military. If he couldn't find a job, he would go to the military and still be married and send the money to his wife. He would go work at Ford, Chrysler, GM. Because that's what he had to do. See, now we have gotten to a point where our children think they can do what they want to do before they can do what they have to do. Talk to a young man about joining the military, and they don't even understand the benefits of it. Talk to a young man about going to work at Amazon, Ford. They can't do it. And I blame fathers. I blame men. Because those men of old, we talk about DoorDash and things of that nature, but they had real side hustles back then. They knew how to fix a car. They knew how to paint. They knew how to change the furnace, things that people actually place a monetary value on. We want to place a monetary value on some bullshit that don't nobody need. Everybody want to be a fake entrepreneur. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. But where's the value? So yes, you could live off of 30,000 if he's making 30 and she's making 15, and you living off the 30. But do we do that? No. We wait until we 32 at even the best situation. We wait till we 32, 33. You got $100,000 in debt. I got $100,000 in debt. We might have a kid between us. We might have had some bad financial situations happen. So now, yeah, I can't be a provider for you and your 100,000 plus this kid, plus my kid, plus my 100,000 if I'm not a doctor or a lawyer. If I just work a regular job and you're making 70, yeah, I can't provide. Because you bring in too much. There's too much luggage. That's like you bring in a Fusion for a lift and you got 12 bags. It ain't gonna fit. You need an XLT. So we have to understand too, we have to teach our children to make better decisions earlier on in life. Because yeah, you can make it as a single individual on 60,000. You really can. Get you a studio apartment, one bedroom apartment, and work. But see, we can't do that because this same person now you throw it because it's mainly bills and kids. If you got a kid, you can't work 12 hours a day as a single parent. You got to find somebody to watch the kid. You got to da da da. So it is impossible because we're not intentional. And just like until we change our culture, I don't know if there's a solution because it all boils down to family. I look at a lot of historical stuff about finance and things of that nature. Most of wealth is built through family.
Right.
And it's given through family. It ain't given through baby daddies and baby mamas and I ain't gonna get married and it don't work like that. But see, we want to do something different and get the bad results.
That's real. That's real right there. So yeah, so to answer that, Winfred, let's say you heard what Vince just said. Let's say he made a lot of valid points in there. And just to add some additional to what he said, he touched on it, but this is very, it's a very important piece of it. Convincing people to put in work is value. Yeah, we don't understand value like we used to. Yeah, we don't prioritize value like we used to. Yeah, one of the reasons why a lot of our situations are not working is because we are not focusing and really articulating what our value is. Yeah, we don't prioritize that like that. Yep, a lot of these, fellas are not checking for a lot of these ladies today because they can't articulate their value. Yep, I know we hate to hear this question, what do you bring to the table? But I mean, it's an articulation of your value. And as a person, as a woman, you should be able to articulate that. If a man asks you, hey, what you bringing to my situation? I got it popping over here. What you bringing? You should be able to articulate that. Yep, and the same goes for a man. Yep, if you saying that you want this certain type of woman who gonna come in here and cook and clean and take care of your house and your kids and all of that, you should be able to articulate your value. But if you notice today, a lot of folks can't do that. If they can't tell you what they bringing, they can't stand on what they bringing because it's unstable, it's faulty, it's something missing. If somebody need to lose some weight, somebody need to get their body together, somebody need to get their money up, like folks ain't got it together like they try to pretend. So they can't truly and comfortably and honestly articulate their value. Yep, and value has always been a key to somebody putting in work, to somebody building, to somebody working with you. It's just the value that you bring to that other person, how you compliment that other person. Yeah, but if he got the money in play, he got the house in play, he got the structure in play, he needs you to bring those other pieces to the play. And then y'all on down the road. And the same thing on the flip side. If she got the feminine piece, the soft piece, the nurturing piece in play, then she needs you to bring the security and the protection and the structure. And then boom, y'all on your way down the road. Yeah, but a lot of folks cannot even articulate their value. They don't prioritize their value to the other person. So that piece is always missing. And that is definitely going to cause a situation where somebody ain't willing to put in no work because they like, what is your value to what I got going on? What is your true value to this relationship we trying to have? So that piece right there is key, at least from my perspective. You have to at least be able to articulate and stand on your value add to the situation. Yep, that goes for anything in life. Because see, this is the funny part about it. We only understand these basic things, at least they basic to me. We only seem to understand these basic things when it comes to situations outside of relationships. It's like when we go to a job, we already know we got to bring this value to this job. They want to see your experience. They want to know how long you've been doing it, how good you at it before they'll even offer you the opportunity. Yeah, we already know when we go out here to buy these cars and all of this stuff, you already know you got to come with your credit right. You got to come with this down payments and everything else. You got to bring the value in order to get the product that you're trying to get. But it's like when it comes to relationships, then all of a sudden we go dumb. It's like all of a sudden, oh, I don't need to articulate nothing to this man, but I want this man that's bringing, you know, I need this man to be bringing all this stuff, but I ain't got to bring him nothing. That ain't how that works. It don't work like that. No other aspect of life. Yeah, you can't get that job with that attitude. Yeah, the same with the fellas. You know what I'm saying? You go approaching these certain type of women, especially the women that's really about to bring the value. And I'm not talking about no money and no nonsense. I'm talking about the real valuable women. You can't come to her not correct, bruh. Yeah, you can't do it. So you already know you got to come with your A game. But we get up in there playing around and wondering why she ain't checking for us. It's like, bro, because you ain't coming with the value, bruh. But we try to act like that requirement doesn't exist in the relationship space, and it does. The man got to bring value to the woman. The woman got to bring value to the man, and that's the only way that it's going to work. Yeah, but we get to half stepping, you know what I'm saying? We get to acting like we dumb, like we don't understand that. And I'm like, ain't nothing changed. It's the same equation for everything in life. So yeah, until we get up out of that mindset, yeah, we're gonna see a lot of folks not wanting to put in that work. Well, let me throw this last one, man, and then we gonna, was that Joe? Joe, you want to say something, man? Come off mute, man. Go ahead.
What's up? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Mic
we can hear you,
check,
man. How
mic
you
check.
doing?
Cool. I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. How are y'all?
Doing well,
Look at
man.
Vince.
We doing
Vince knows
well,
why
man.
I'm feeling so great. Oh shit. My goodness. This crap is crazy. Yeah, I mean I agree with everything you're saying, Quay. As far as people looking for value in order to know what they're looking for, and it's I guess it's the articulation part personally that I struggle with. I personally don't trust. I wouldn't trust a woman who could articulate exactly what she brings to the table, because that can be very easily manipulated, especially for men who have the gift of gab. They can talk about what value they bring to the table, but bring something the total opposite or nothing at all. So I think it's maybe not quite as simple as like a job application where you check mark, you have a certain degrees, and you have this, you have these qualifications. It seems like it's quite different when it comes to relationships. At least when I look at a valuable or value in a woman, it's not so much something she says to me, it's something that she does. My opinion is that if a man has to ask a woman what she brings to the table, that's not a woman that he wants in the first place, because he would know just by observing her actions, her behaviors, her mindset, her attitude, how she treats him. And it doesn't take very long, maybe about a week, couple of dates here and there, and then that's all he needs to know. So they say actions speak louder than words. I think that's personally the best approach. Not saying that there shouldn't be articulation of what one brings to the table and so forth, but I think people go to it saying these things. What do you bring to the table? Because I bring X, Y, and Z. Because a man can look good on paper to a woman, but she may not necessarily be the man that's for her. Even though he might have all of these qualifications, all these things that go for him, he might be a top CEO, a banker, six figures, all this. That doesn't necessarily mean that he can bring value to her specifically, maybe to another woman. So when articulating this value to someone, I think a lot of men also fall back on that. They fall back on their degrees, they fall back on their accomplishments, they fall back on the things that they bring tangible to the table, but they ignore the things that are intangible that women look for. I mean, it's very basic. It's very basic things. I mean, even when I was out today, it's just the first thing women see is fit. Is he healthy? Is he strong? Does he take care of himself? This is something that they observe. It's not something that I have to say. And so that is a value that a lot of men ignore because they put other things in the forefront before that. They say, well, none of those things matter because I got money, because I have cars, because I have a house, I have this. But the first thing women want to see is, can he protect? Like that's the first instinctual thing they see. And they just look at your fitness. If you're overweight, if you're sloppy, if you look like shit, then you probably can't. And you can have all these other great things going for you that you can articulate, but it won't mean much to the woman because first impressions, they mean something. And vice versa for a woman. You know, if she's overweight, if she's homely looking, but she has all these other qualities. She likes to cook at home. She likes to rub your feet. She likes to do all these things. That man will probably get with her. He end up probably cheating on her too because she doesn't meet the first qualification. She's not even physically attracted to him. So this articulation of value, though I do believe it's some importance to it, I think it's more like I don't think it's as black and white as communicating with words what that value is. It's something that you embody, it's something that you are, it's something that people have lost their sense to feel, and they rely too much on checking off things off a list. Check, and ignoring the things that you can't really check off a list. It's just something you observe, something you experience, something you feel. And I think leaving that off of the table causes people to regret having get with the person because they both checked something off each other's list, but there's something else intangible, some other thing that they might have forgot or they ignored because they didn't think it was that important at the time. But I'm saying it's equally as important, if not more so important, than the things that we can observe and check off the list and articulate. So I would say, just to add to your point, Quay, in conclusion, that articulation of value is important, but I think it's a lack of, I guess, some social skills or social ability to observe the things that is of value that we ignore because we place too much value on other things. And I say that now being here in Brazil because they value these things that I'm talking about, the intangible things. It's not that they ignore the articulation or the, sitting down at the table, hey, I bring this, you bring that, I bring this, you bring that. It's a vibe thing first. And then it's like, okay, we connect on this level. I like what you bring to the table, even though I have to say it. And I like what you bring to the table, even though I don't have to say it. And then you might discuss the finer details afterwards. But I think with Americans, they put it the other way around. I got this thing. I have this status. I have this career. I have this house. I have this material thing. I see what I can do, see what the value I bring to the table. But yet they ignore the things, the simple things, the kindness, the care, the warmth, the heart, the soul. So it's a balance. It's a balance.
Yep. Yeah, no, that's spot on, man. So no, you're absolutely right. Like I said, everything is not going to be, or everything should not be verbally communicated. Because I said I look at articulation is not just a verbal situation, right? Because majority of our communication really is through body language. It's not even verbal. Right. So yeah, I'm not discounting the fact that you still have to interview, you still have to have discernment. Like, so those pieces, I'm not removing those, but I'm really just talking about the fact of being able to communicate, if it be verbal or nonverbal, what value you bring to the other person. So yeah, no, but you spot on, Joe. So no, I'm not disagreeing with anything you just said. You spot on with that. And we get caught up in looking past those core things, those core character traits or values that really sustain relationships. And we get caught up and we look past those things. And then we look for them, like Vince said in his example earlier, 20 years later. Then we'd be like, man, you know what I'm saying? I wish she was nice. I wish she had a better attitude. It's like, wait a minute, man, you had 20 years, man. So you spot on with that, Joe. I'm not denying that at all. You spot on. All right, I got one more. We're going to get up out of here.
It's just something about a man being a man that does it for me. Like, it's something about a man and his masculinity and him being a gentleman and him knowing how to care for a woman that does it for me. Can we please get back to gender roles? Can we please get back to a place where men understood what they need to do as a man and women understood what they need to do as a woman? Like, certain things where men will be like, oh no, you don't touch no doors around me. You a woman, you don't touch no doors, I got that. Or something like where a man see you struggling with bags, no, you don't care, I got that. Men knowing, oh, my lady not taking out no trash, I'm taking the trash out. Oh, let me go warm my lady car up. Oh, my lady car need to be detailed, I'm taking it to the detail shop and getting it detailed. I miss those days where men knew how to be a man because they didn't want their woman depending on nobody else. They didn't want their woman calling nobody else. And they understood when you take care of your woman, she's going to take care of you. Because it goes hand in hand. Like at the end of the day, if a man is making sure I'm good, I'm gonna make sure he good. Wash what clothes? You don't gotta wash no clothes, babe. I got that. Clean your house. Clean what house? You ain't gotta clean the house. I'm going to do that. You hungry, baby? I'm gonna make you something to eat. Oh, you don't feel good today? You're not feeling well? Let me make you some tea. Let me rub your hair. Let me rub your back. Let me make you feel good. Like, men understood that I'm gonna take care of my woman. My woman takes good care of me. So you didn't have a lot of the problems that you have today because everybody understood their position. They understood their role. Most men don't want women. I don't want my woman calling on me. I don't want my woman sitting up in no detail shop for other men to talk to her. She's not even going to be that accessible. They understood that. It's just like everything is so mixed match. The woman is so masculine and boisterous. The men are sassy and want to match energy. It's like nobody wants to step into their identity, into who they are, and be the best version of what they're supposed to be. If you're a woman, be the best woman that you're going to be. If you're a man, be the best man you're going to be. And if you're with somebody that's not allowing you to be the best version of yourself, then maybe that's not the person you should be with. I feel like everybody should be with somebody that makes them want to be better, makes them want to do the right things, makes them want, I want to be able to spoil my man. I want to be able to show up for my man. You should want to be able to spoil your woman. You should want to be able to show up for your woman. You shouldn't even want your woman to have to pick up the phone and call another man for nothing, and vice versa. So until we get back to the space where we understand our roles, we're going to have problems.
Okay. That young lady went on and laid it out. So she said we need to get back to gender roles. So I'm coming to the panel on this. Vince shaking his head. Go ahead, Vince. I'm gonna let you get first crack at it. Go ahead, Vince.
It's over for gender roles.
Damn, hold on.
That's like
What?
trying to find. That's like trying to find a needle in a haystack for men and women.
Damn.
And I'll go
What?
back to the culture. We are not
Oh,
raising husbands and wives. We are raising individuals to put themselves first. And in the black community, we raising our daughters to don't be able to depend on no man. It ain't even about being self-sufficient. Don't depend on no man. Don't trust no man. Don't get no man your all. Always have you a little stash because he might go out there and have a whole other family around the block. And then we spoiling these boys. They ain't even got to walk to the bus station. Just right down the street at the corner. They ain't raking no leaves. They ain't cutting no grass. They ain't shoveling no snow. They ain't doing nothing but laying in there and they mama calling them the man of the house. And he ain't doing absolutely nothing. Halfway going to school and getting good grades.
You right.
You the man of the house. And you can't even go out there and put the damn trash out on Wednesdays or every Wednesday. Your mama out there. I seen a lady right down the street cutting her grass. And she got a teenage son that live there and she out there cutting the grass. I don't care if you like cutting the grass. Wife ain't cutting no grass. Wife ain't shoveling no snow. She ain't even throwing no dirt out there. You wait till I get home and I'll do it. So it's over for this gender role thing. It's 50-50, but then it's the delusion of it all. Because they really don't want 50-50. They really want for you to shut up and pay the bill. They'll have that's what they really want. Do like our grandfathers, take your ass to Ford and kill yourself at the plant and bring mama the money and shut up. But they don't want to do what grandmama did, though. They ain't doing what grandmama did. Hot meal, clean house, dedicated, taking care of the kids. They complaining, oh, I got to come home. If I got to work, then I ain't going to be cooking if I got to work. So it's going to be hard pressed to go back to these gender roles. I don't see it happening. It's too far gone. You got to remember, I was telling somebody the other day, we 2-3 generations of men not being in the home. It ain't like this just one generation. Some of us are not used to men being in leadership, except at the church, and we don't go to church no more for real. A lot of these people don't even know they pastor. They just going for the music and a social event.
So okay, so wait a minute, man. So are you telling me that I'm just gonna use lady in the video because I know there's a lot of ladies that's on the same wavelength that she on. So are you telling me that a chunk of these ladies are not gonna get to the point where they are ready to roll back into gender roles and play their position if the man come in and play his position? Is that what you're telling me?
No, because there's not enough trust there. They want to be as big as he is. Because if you got a masculine provider type of male, he usually has a program.
Right.
And you're going to have to fit into his program. They don't want that. They want our program. We put the program together. That's why all these others is getting these athletes. Because they understand, okay, I got to see what he needs. See, these other ones be trying to, okay, I'm going to get with him and start me a boutique. I'm going to get with him and try to get my shine on. No, he don't need for you now. He need your ass to be at home raising them kids. And who want to do that? Black women don't want, they don't want to be no housewife for real. They want the benefits of the housewife. They don't want the responsibility of the housewife. Oh, no, he might leave me. I got to go out here and work as a senior. These other girls, just like I told you, they said, "Oh, baby, your feet hurt. Let me rub your feet. Let me go get you some Panera. Let me go." These sisters is on Instagram and TikTok, especially if they cute. Don't be cute now in 19, 20, 21.
You wild, man. You wild.
Don't be cute. Because these cute, what they talking about, I see 22, 23-year-old girls talking about they want Cartier bags and Louis Vuitton. 22 with a Louis Vuitton? You know how much Louis Vuittons cost? At 22?
I feel that. Go ahead, Beatbox. I saw you come off, man.
Hey, what's up, Price? Remember I told you last week that it's over?
Yeah, you said it, man.
Remember I told you I said it was over?
And you going viral too, just so you know.
Thank you. Dude, like it really is, man. Women fought for equality. I don't know why now women are like, but we now want gender roles. It don't work like that. Like if you fought for economic and political equality, that means social dynamics are going to change. Period. End of story. So women back in the day had to get married because, I mean, damn, like if you didn't, you were going to be poor and that was it, right? Now, women, like the last few videos we stated, now women are the men that they wanted to be, right? So they're like, if you're a masculine woman, you're not a masculine, like me, for example. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with women pointing my finger, but telling me what to do. Hey, that ain't finna happen. Like, that's not going to happen with me. So, or, I mean, dude, it's just weird to me that if you fought for things like equality, then you're complaining about men are doing this or that. To be honest, a lot of women ain't worth it. I'd rather jack off. I'm sorry. Like I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Like a lot of women, I've said this ever since I was like in high school. Like, man, a lot of women think they are the shit. They really think, hey, I'm a woman. I got the box. And I'm like, yo, sex is free. Like a lot of these things that a lot of women think are like, I'm this and that, I look cute. Like there's a lot of women who look good. There are a lot of women, like that's not unusual. I don't know why. I don't know, man. The delusion is crazy. And when women say, well, a man, if he really likes you, will do this or that. And I agree with Vince on that point, that what women really want is they want men to be in the amber of the 1930s and 40s. And they want the equality. They want the equality of today. They want all the benefits of what it used to be, but they want to continue to do what they want to do now. It's not going to work that way. There are men there are a few who will do that. But in general, I'm going to be like you said before, what's in it for me? What do I get? What do you bring to the table? I'm not gonna. That's a bad deal. Why would I do all this stuff for you and then I get no food? Not like my home was messed up. You talking about you want to do all this work stuff, but the kids are looking crazy. Like, what is it? What's in it for me? I don't. Nothing. It's over. And also we live in a postmodern society too. So when women say, "Oh, I want a man doing this, this, and this for me," look, listen, men don't build houses in general anymore. Like, there are certain things that just don't happen, right? So I get to an extent what Vince you were saying as far as men doing like things around the house, but since we live in a postmodern society, there's things that people are just paying for. Me personally, I do certain things around the house, right? But for most other people, it's kind of like it's just easier to pay for it. It's cheaper in some ways to pay for it rather than doing it yourself. But yeah, it's over, bro. Like, it's over. I don't even know what to say. Like, it's over. And again, one more thing, as Vince stated, he stated the others. That is true too. Like I said, these other women who aren't melanated are taking notes and they see what's going on and they're like, ooh, this man, I like this black man and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm just saying, bro. I know I got heat for it last week. I could see some of the comments. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Viral, man. Go ahead, Vince. You just you still on mute, Vince. You still on mute.
And let me ask what's a B-Box question. Does your wife come from a 2-parent household?
So yeah, so she did. Her dad died when she was 6.
Okay.
But she came from a family that was she came from a family that was pretty big, Irish family, and there was still a lot of patriarchal things there. And her grandfather died. He died like 3 years ago. So the grandfather was still around. So
and the reason why I asked that is because I think that's more of the difference than maybe the ethnicity.
sure.
It's the way that they're raised. They're raised to be helpmeets. And also they don't have this, and I understand it, they don't have this distrust for a man. You got to remember, if your daddy ain't shit, your granddaddy ain't shit, your uncles ain't shit, it's really hard for you to meet a man like us and say, okay, you go have to trust me. You go have to put basically your life in my hands, and we gonna do this thing together.
Can I push back a tad on that?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is anecdotal, but I've even met African women who've like their families have immigrated here, and they'll parrot some of the same stuff that African American women will say. Like, where did that come from? Your daddy is from Nigeria,
Wow.
and he's been around, and you're talking about, black men ain't this or that. And it's not even just black American men. They're talking about Nigerian. Like, where's that coming from? Like, your father's in the home. You've got people doing what they're supposed to do, unless your father is not the best person. That's a whole nother conversation, right? And again, like I said, it's anecdotal, but I've seen that more often than not, and I'm like, where is that coming from? And I will say this too: just because I'm married to a white woman doesn't mean there aren't issues with white women too. I've heard white women say some of the same stuff. They're like, "Oh, man, ain't this and that." You're like, bruh, what are we doing? I'm just saying that there's more often than not, you're not going to deal with that as much, but there is this through line where women in general are saying like, men, I can't, or this or that. Like, bruh, like, but I think it's more acute with melanated women. And when I'm saying, I'm not saying, I think because sometimes I think when we have these conversations, we talk about just African American women. I gotta be honest, there's a problem with there's something going on. I don't know what that is, but there's something where you like deal with some women, no matter where they're from the diaspora, where you're like, man, your dad was in your life and you're still talking crap about men. That's weird to me.
So let me respond to that. So it's trauma. So it's not ethnic. It's not ethnic. It's trauma. Let's say it's going back to the example that Vince just gave, where your daddy wasn't ish, your uncles wasn't ish. So see, you take that on to the new guy. Now this dude may be your guy. Yeah, this might be your future husband right here, but you treating him funny because of what you saw from your daddy and your uncles. Yep, and see, that's trauma. Yep, trauma is colorblind. It don't matter what color you are. Yeah, that's trauma. Yeah, but see, that's another issue that we have going on that a lot of folks don't want to own. Yep, a lot of folks are traumatized out here because they chose, going back to how we were talking about decisions, they chose to make a lot of bad decisions. Yep, and those bad decisions traumatized them. And now as they go through this relationship, search, if you will, or seeking of relationships, they carry this trauma from person to person. So even though the new person come along, he ain't did nothing to you. Yeah, he done came to you with grace. He over here opening doors, being nice to you. But in the back of your mind, you still saying he probably just a dirt bag like these, my uncles and my daddy. And then you end up pushing that man away. Then you circle back and say, where the good men at? Well, you had one. But see, you never took the time to address what you had going on so that you was actually ready when this dude showed up or when this woman showed up, from the male perspective. But yeah, it's trauma. Yep, and see, trauma has no color lines. It's going to hit everybody who been in it. Yeah, so that's the thing. That's what we're seeing is trauma in people, regardless of skin color, age, it don't matter. Gender, it don't matter. Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of traumatized people because at the end of the day, they don't really understand how your decisions really affect your life. Yeah, people don't understand being with the wrong people or being with the wrong dude, how it affects your relationships with dudes in the future. Yeah, being with the wrong woman, having kids with the wrong woman, how it affects your relationships in the future. Yeah, we don't think about that stuff. Yeah, we don't think long term. That's the big piece of that. We don't typically think long term. We think today. We think how I feel right now. We think how cute she is right now. Yeah, we don't think about how she gonna be acting 20 years from now. Yeah, we don't think about if she a good mother, if she actually got those characteristics in her right now for when we have kids and 15 years down the line. We don't think like that. Yeah, ladies don't think about if this dude is going to really have them feeling safe and protect them 15 years from now. They don't think like that. They think about the fact that, yeah, he got a Benz right now. He rock Cartiers. He that dude. And see, that's how we think about a lot of things. Yep, and when these things collapse, then we look at them in the face, trying to figure out where we went wrong. It's like, well, it's 10 years too late. Yeah, the kids are here. The divorce done happened. The debt is here. So it's too late at this point. Yeah, that's why we got to get out of this short-term mindset that we always in. And that would change a lot of this stuff. Man, shout out to Love Coach in the building. She said, preach. No, I appreciate that, Love Coach. Appreciate you joining us tonight as well. Appreciate that. All right, let me, Joe, you want to say something, man? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah. Trauma. Okay, so, well, the assumption here is that the trauma that these women are experiencing in response to beatboxer is that it's because of something other men have done in their lives in the past that they then project onto other men in the future. That's essentially what that is. They're traumatized for something that men had did to them, therefore they're projecting onto men in the future, whether it be their father or whoever. But yet it completely takes away any sort of responsibility or accountability that woman has, that agency that she has. And it just says, well, she's been traumatized. So of course she's going to treat black men this way. This black woman's going to treat black men this way. But yet I've seen, and say what beatboxer was said earlier, anecdotally speaking, I've seen women who grew up in really good families, black women specifically, good fathers, good uncles. They wasn't abused in any way, verbally, sexually, whatever. And yet they choose to adopt the culture that is perpetuated in society. They choose to adopt the language, the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they behave towards men that particularly look like them. And the reason why I say is because my personal tour guide here in Brazil, she's probably had more trauma dealing with men than most black women I know. But yet she's been the most gracious, most kind, most loving. It's just something she just chooses not to project whatever hurt and pain that she's been through with men in her life, from her father, her stepfather, whoever, brother too. But yet I would have never known had she not told me. But if having dealt and dated quite a few black women myself, you would think, oh, this person has a lot of trauma. But then you go and meet their father, you meet their uncle, and they're the most kind people you could ever meet. So it's like, wait, how is this connection? Like, it doesn't make any sense why you would treat me this way, or even your own father this way, when they're not treating you that way, at least from appearances and such. Or sometimes the woman would even speak highly of their father, of their uncle, of their whatever black male figure they have in their life, and yet still choose to engage in whatever this culture is that a lot of black women, no matter how educated they are, choose to engage in. So that's confusing to me, that the women who are more traumatized, you would expect them to project more of their trauma, yet they don't. But the women who aren't, or are very little traumatized compared to the women that I've met, do. So that's so to say that, oh, because they're doing it because of trauma, that's possible. But even things I've seen with women, the way they treated me, I don't project those things because I choose not to, because I have agency. I refuse to say, oh, well, because of things I've been through. And okay, I'll give you that. You do it one time to one person. Okay, go see a therapist. You go see a therapist. You take it upon yourself as an adult to take care of that. But it's one thing to say I've been traumatized and to do it once, but then they over and over, and the next guy, he's going to get it. He's going to get it. He's going to get it because that's what Cardi B does. That's what the Kardashians do, and this is just how it is. This is what I think men like, and it's like, no, it's not. So you could say trauma. I would say that it's a lack of accountability, and that because women are, again, free agents. They have just as much free will as I do as a man. I don't see them as any lesser. But I think it benefits them in the sense that we have trauma, so we do these things because we have trauma. Okay. If you choose to act on it, that's still a choice. And if you haven't had trauma, then what really is your excuse for doing it? Is it because of the music you listen to, the movies you watch, things you entertain and ingest? So I'm not really buying that 100%. Maybe 20% for the extreme cases. Oh yeah, this person really, man, this black woman really had it bad when she was growing up. I can see why she did this. But I've been a lot of black women I've met who's like, you? Why are you talking like this? Why are you acting like this? Why are you treating other men like this? What excuse do you have? Oh, that's just trauma. Yeah, but you just demonstrated you haven't demonstrated any sort of trauma. You want to do this. You get a kick out of this. Maybe you enjoy doing it. It's just a thing to do. It's a fad. I don't know what it is. Now, I'm not trying to put down black women. I'm just saying my personal experience. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's just been a consistent pattern. I thought I was going crazy. So then you go on to dating other different ethnicities. You're like, wait, how is it they dealing with trauma in a very different way? They choose not to project it onto the men in their communities. Even if they're going through some things that sometimes more terrible than what black women are going through, but they just choose not to project it, or they take precautions upon themselves to get it checked, therapy, meditation, seeking God, whatever. They just have, I don't know, they take it upon themselves. I don't know how else to explain it. There isn't no scapegoating there, or very little of it. But I will end on that point. I think I've belabored the point, but that's just my personal opinion and anecdotal experience.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, the missing piece to all of that is context. Yeah, so the context is important, right? So trauma looks all different types of ways. So the context is important. Yep, somebody can be traumatized and it could be something minor, right? But they can make a decision, hey, I don't want to let this bleed into my relationships. I don't want to let this bleed into my dating, right? So the context matters. Yeah, so that is the key. Now, to your point, Joe, are there situations where folks just use it as an excuse and leverage it as an excuse? Yes, there are. Yeah, but that goes for men and women. Yeah, we got some traumatized men out here who use it as an excuse to why they can't get themselves together. We got some women out here that use it as an excuse to why they can't get themselves together. So that does exist, but the context matters. In this particular situation that you're given as an example, as the lady in the other country who is choosing to not use that as an excuse as she goes through her relationship phase or whatever it is. Yes, she's made a choice not to depend on that or not to lean on that, which some ladies make that decision because they say to themselves, hey, you know what I'm saying? I done did this work. I done talked about this with somebody. I done got this out. And now I got to move differently if I want to see different results. So yeah, the context matters. Yep, in all situations, the context matters. So yeah, you're not wrong in what you're saying, but yes, some people do use it as an excuse. Yep, and some of those things that we see today is excuses. Yep, everybody has had something happen to them or dealt with something. Everybody has been through some situations. Nobody's situation is the same, but it comes down to what you do with what you've had to deal with and how you decide to move forward. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Let me let JR rock for a minute, and then we're going to get ready to wrap. I know we've been on here for a minute. Go ahead, JR. It's on you, man.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, a lot's been said there, obviously, you know, from everybody, and some really, really good points, you know. And obviously, the topic is obviously, you know, sometimes it does seem that it's always directed towards women, but I always do agree on a part of, you know, men having to be men and doing what men have to do. And yeah, in today's society, of course, the way the dynamics have just gone and whatnot, you know, whether it be women, as for this or as for that, whatever it is, it's hard for both sets of parties. Um, so we can't really get away from that. But in terms of, you know, men not wanting to do things for women or whatever it is, right? Obviously, in the last hour or so, we've kind of mined out a few points or whatever it is. And I think I said previously, last couple of shows, it's more the desire, the lack of desire that men have, you know, to do things for women. Certainly because we're talking about um, women having trauma, right? Men also have trauma, but that's not spoken about enough about what men go through with women or their moms, you know, like how our fellow black sisters have experienced XYZ from, you know, uncles, dads, granddads, brothers, wherever it is, right? But that's also on the reverse. But somehow it's always the black men that have to understand the black woman's pain. Black men have to have sympathy and empathy. And we're not saying that we don't want to have that, right? What we're saying is like, hey, we also went through something. We're not saying that you can't feel. We're saying that we want to understand you. But the way you're coming off with your feelings constantly, it's like, hold on, me too, I have feelings and I know that I can't throw that onto you. Now, this ain't just for black women because it's just, you know, women in general, they're going to bring you problems, right? But like I said, for our sisters, there just seems to be a lack of disconnect. And yes, the trauma is a big part of it. And I think today, men have just had enough. Black men have had enough. You know, Mr. Vince always points out, you know, the athletes and whatnot, you know, the white girls going towards the top earning brothers because they understand the mission. And I think for the other black guys as well, they're just swaying that way because me as well, my girlfriend's white. Does that make sense? So my first girlfriend, she was black. And with what Beatbox is saying in terms of um, ladies that have come from backgrounds where we've got mums and dads in the same household or whatnot, and they still adopt the same mindset here. I'm of an African background, you know, I'm Congolese, and it's normal. You know, Beatboxer mentioned last week about single mothers and all that ish. It's normal. They're no different. And I would say this, my mom's like, oh, you know, find your lady from back home type of ish, you know, get married and that. I'm like, hey, if anything, they're actually worse than the ladies that are here. Because the ladies that are here are actually telling us the truth. The ones over there are actually the real chameleons because they're just abiding by the rules that are over there. But in reality, they want to be like the ladies over here. Hence why you'll be sitting there thinking, hold on, you had a dad who's done, you know, good by you, but somehow you despise your dad. That's a big problem. But the one over here, at least she tells me how it is. But the difference between the ladies in the Western world of our sisters and our other counterparts, right? Because I would say the white men also had their problems with the white women, right? The white women have come back and said, hey, you know what? They ran away from us. We've learned our lesson. We just can't play the game different. And here's how the game goes. The white woman is willing to have skin in the game, right? And if she gonna take it from you, at least she worked hard for it. You see our fellow black sisters, they're telling you they're gonna rob you right from the get-go. Why would they do that?
Man, you know what, JR? You know what? I'm about to put y'all on the spot right now. I'm about to put y'all on the spot right now. I wasn't going to even do this, but I'm about to do it right now. So you made a point, and you said that the black men have had enough of the black women. So let me go ahead and put y'all on the spot. I want anybody to respond, anybody in the comments, anybody in the panel. I'm about to go there. So if you saying that the black men have had enough of the black women, why y'all ain't had enough of their bodies?
You want me to answer that?
Answer that for me. Answer
Please
that
do.
for me.
Please do.
If y'all have had enough black men, if y'all have had enough of black women, y'all tired of them, y'all sick of their nonsense and whatever, why have y'all not had enough of their bodies?
Instinct is still there, buddy. Instinct doesn't
Come
go
on,
away just
man.
because they're
Come on.
assholes.
Come on,
Don't be,
man.
it's like a man who's an asshole. A man who's an asshole, but oh, I hate his guts. I can't stand him, but I still sleep with him because your instinct. So you talking about personality traits? You talking
That's
about
weak.
without can I see myself?
Come on, man.
That's not.
That's
That's the
weak.
truth.
That's
That's the
weak.
truth.
It can be true.
Because you
It's still
can.
weak. It can be true and weak. That's weak.
Yeah.
It can be true and weak.
It's true.
I would agree. I would agree with you.
But it's weak.
I agree with you actually. It's the weakness of the flesh, right? You talk about the right. It's the instinct. Oh, I can't see myself marrying her, having kids with her, but I'll go ahead and hit that because my instinct is still there. It is weak. It's a weakness of the flesh. And I'm just saying, most men they follow their dick. That's just the way it is. When push
That's
comes to
not most.
shove,
That's not most men. That's not.
oh yes, it is.
It's a little bit.
I'm
It's a little bit
It's
more.
not most.
I'm gonna let you cook, beatboxer, but I gotta say this, right? I gotta say it while it's still top of the mind because you just gave us a whole dissertation, right? A whole dissertation, Joe, about how women use trauma as an excuse, and they don't want to hold themselves accountable. It's a lack of accountability. So you already know I am fin to lay in, okay? Because what we're not gonna do is discount someone's traumatic experiences and how it affects them, right? Because you always going to have people that's going to manipulate. That's always going to exist. But what we're not going to do is discount someone's traumatic experiences, real genuine traumatic experiences, and how it affects them when they go forward in life. Not just in relationships either, because trauma is trauma. It will show up on you in all kinds of ways, right? We're not going to discount that and just downgrade it to, oh, well, it's just the lack of accountability. It's just a choice, right? We're not going to say that out our mouths, right? I can give you that if you also can understand that it's a choice, right? It's not okay for you to say, I'm a man, I have instincts. So even though I know this woman is not right for me, even though I know she's toxic, even though I know I wouldn't raise a family with her, I wouldn't marry her, I wouldn't even really fool with this chick like that. Like, even though I know all of that, I'm still going to sleep with her. Then we have to say, you are not holding yourself accountable. You are saying, yeah, but it's a man. I'm a man, so I'm just doing what men do. It's instinctual. Like you can't do that out the same mouth. Like you can't take away someone's traumatic experience and just downgrade it to, oh, they have a choice. They could just put the trauma away and then turn around and say, but I'm a man. I can't put my instincts away. I can't have control over my instincts. I can't control myself. I can't make better choices, right? We're not going to do that. We're not allowing that in 2025. We're doing better.
Just to be clear, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, because I was answering Quay's question from male friends that I've had, male friends I had growing up, from high school to middle school, is how many women can I get with? How many women can I sleep with? How many women can I get on my notch count up? So I was just speaking in reality. And also, I'm friends with very beautiful women. They tell me the stories. Their issue they have is lustful men. So this is the majority. This is not like, oh, it's not. I know B-Box L's not it. If you're speaking for yourself, I get it. I speak for myself too. Like I choose not to follow that weakness, which is still also an instinct. And I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying when Quay asked that question, it was a great question. Why do men still sleep with the women that they don't see a future with? It's because we do have an ability to compartmentalize. Well, if I can't have her all of this, I can at least have her for this. So, and unfortunately, a lot of men do say and choose that route. They choose that route, and that's the route they take. I'm not saying it's right. Well, definitely not saying it's right, but it's definitely wrong. But I'm just saying this is how a lot of men do. They just do. Whether they want to admit it or not, they just do. It just is what it is. So, Chloe, you're absolutely right.
Then you just have
Go
to,
ahead.
okay, then you have to accept that some of this trauma that women have, that you want them
It's because of that.
And dismiss.
It's because of that.
Some of this trauma, you guys are creating it. And you're creating. So basically you just admitted, and I'm not even gonna pick on you because you said this is other men that you know and they talk to you. Okay, so cool. So then this group of men understand that they are part of the problem and they don't want to do anything about it, because this trauma that y'all want women to put away, you guys are helping create this trauma. It's traumatic for a woman to give up her body to a man that she might think actually is going to call her back. She might think is actually going to want something with her. She may think that maybe y'all going, y'all going to have something. At minimum, she's thinking y'all going to be in a relationship at minimum.
Yeah.
And then when it doesn't work that way, when that doesn't happen, that's traumatic for her, because that's another body, that's another failed relationship or lack of relationship. Now she's got to move on with that. That's baggage.
Yeah. Coco preaching.
Then you guys are gonna tell. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Tell her she got too many bodies and too many experiences. So I mean, it's just, this is a problem. It's a cycle, you guys. Like,
yes,
somebody at some point has to say no. It's enough. If she's not good enough to be the mother of your children, to be your girl, to be your wife, then don't sleep with her. Don't you cause any more trauma.
I just have to say, this conversation is on fire. I love you guys.
Y'all appreciate that.
I had to get on here. I'm like, hey, on fire. So a couple points I wanted to make with Black women. You hear this: Black women are the least desirable, and the issue isn't that Black women are the least desirable. They're in fact the most desirable. Like somebody mentioned, they don't get tired of the body, right? Everybody want a Black woman's body. It's not that we're the Black women the least desirable. They're the least desirable to marry. Everybody want them, a Black woman on their arm, goose on them or whatever. Don't want to marry them. That's the problem. And I wanted to point out too, with trauma, I was one of those young girls who I didn't grow up with abuse necessarily. All of the trauma I experienced was abuse I put upon myself. And that's what I tell my children. Just like you said, you women going after men, because the issue is that everybody's trying to manipulate each other. Women using their vaginas, trying to manipulate men using they penis, trying to manipulate women, and everybody's traumatizing each other over and over again. And then trying to blame the other person. Oh, well, you deceived me, you manipulated me. well, what was you doing to me the whole time? You know what I mean? Everybody's playing too many games, and I have to put the Jesus in it. People don't know love. People are running from love. People don't know what love is, and when they experience love, they run from it or use that person's love to abuse them. So everybody is misinformed about what love even is. So I had a niece, I was telling her some stuff. She like, Auntie Margie, this doesn't feel like love. You don't know what love feel like. You so used to being lied to and manipulated, you don't know what love feels like by her own parents. And that's the other issue going on with a lot of folks. It's like, never mind. It's like people think trauma is just physical trauma, but people are being manipulated and emotionally abused by their own parents from the time they are crawling. So we've begun to believe and been conditioned that this is what love is because parents are so screwed up. So we continue that we perpetuate that manipulation and hate and deception toward everybody because we think this is how life do. This is what it is. Manipulate, traumatize each other. So like you said, Miss Coco, you absolutely right. Somebody got to say, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not going to abuse you. No, I'm not going to let you abuse me. But people ain't doing that. Everybody's abusing each other and then playing the victim, volunteering to be abused and then playing the victim.
That's real. No, that's real right there. Appreciate that right there. Cole, I saw you hop up as well. Do you want to say something? Or you good?
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. This is a little PSA. Black women are not men's or black men's like garbage can. So all that trash that y'all keep trying to throw, keep it to yourself. Okay. We were just talking about being solution oriented. We're just talking about that. So like this constantly throwing garbage back into the mix, it's not cool. It's really becoming a problem. So for who all that's for, please act accordingly because we really not doing that this year.
Okay, I appreciate that right there, Coco. I saw you come off. You want to say something?
Oh no, I think we needed space for Beatboxer to respond.
Oh, okay. Beatboxer, you want to say something, man? You come off mute, man.
Yeah. I think the original question you answered was if men have issues with women.
If the men are saying that they are tired of the black women, so the black men are saying they're tired of the black women, why are they not tired of the black women's bodies?
Right. I actually just agree with that. Like, if you have an issue with something, you're like, okay, I keep having this. It's like, let's say I keep buying a particular dog, and the dog keeps biting me, or whatever. It could be me. I could be a bad trainer, right? Or it could be the dogs, or whatever. And I'm not comparing people to animals. Just follow the logic tree with me. Like,
I got you. Go ahead.
Right. That if there's a continual issue, either you're the problem or the animal's the problem, right? There could be nuance in that issue as well, right? It could be both, whatever, right? So I agree with that. I have a big problem with guys who are like, I have this issue with this or that, and then we'll have sex with that same type of person. Now, it could be that, because we say this with women all the time, water seeks its own level. Well, for some of these guys, maybe water seeks its own level for you, right? We're like, I can't. All these women are doing this and this to me. I'm like, well, maybe that's all you can get, and that's a real. I mean, that's a real conversation that I think a lot of men need to actually have. Like, maybe it ain't women, maybe it's just you, my man. I've had a lot of conversations with men about that. Listen, you got to compete. I've said this a couple weeks ago. You got to compete. Women got to compete. So do men. So you can't complain about women doing this, and so do you. Because I personally have had a lot of issues with women in general, right? So some of the stuff that men say, I'm like, that's foreign to me. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I haven't had women go up to me, talking crazy to me. No, family members, yeah, but that's my family. That's different. But women in general disrespecting me or whatever, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. So
who's gonna disrespect you, man? Looking like that, you crazy? Who would do it? Well, so of course you don't have that experience.
Yeah, but it doesn't even matter it's not even the look. It's more like how you come across to people, right? It's more than that, and how you speak to people, and that's just true. And I think a lot of men don't know, and especially my generation, want, again, all these benefits and none of the work. So you can't, just because I look the way I look, if I'm speaking like a clown and a moron, there's only going to be a certain type of woman that's going to like me. They're only probably going to like me for what I look like and nothing else. The relationship's probably going to end badly. Versus I try to be the best man I can be. I try to be as honest as I can be. I try to work hard. Those things obviously are going to translate into a better relationship, hopefully, right? But a lot of men don't want to do that. I think a lot of men are like, oh, I'm a man, I got a penis, I should be able to lead and work and do no emotional and mental hard work. And women, you do all that stuff because, I believe in gender roles until it doesn't benefit me. So that's kind of how I feel.
Well,
So just leave women alone.
the way you answer the question actually proves the point. And that you say, well, I can look the way that you look, B-Boxer, and the way that I look, and I can be an asshole. And yes, women would choose to sleep with me, but then they don't want to be in a long-term relationship with me. So in answering Quay's question, it's the exact same thing. That doesn't mean that these black women, that they're not physically attractive. They can be going to the gym 9 times a week, whatever, and be appealing to the eye. You want to sleep with the person, but then you also understand, well, they lack these personality traits. They have this ego I don't want to deal with. These other qualities in a woman I would want long term is not in her, but she still has a banging body. She still has a nice face. So a lot of men will settle for that. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying that, and I've been presented those opportunities, and I choose to turn down most in part because it's normal to me. But for a lot of men who don't, they'll go for it and say, well, it's the best I can get for now. I'd rather have sex than at all. And a lot of men will debase themselves along with the woman, giving her an extra notch on her belt because of their own selfish desires, because they feel like I can't get anything better than what was presented to me right now. So I'll settle for this. I'll sleep with her, but it will be nothing more. So at least I got a nut off, is what a lot of men would say. And they won't think nothing about it. Morally, it's wrong. But truthfully, that's just the way it is with a lot of men who don't look like B-Boxer, who don't look like me, who could turn down women who, oh yeah, well, she don't say have these qualities, I'm not gonna sleep with her. Most likely because we have the options not to. So it's like you have $1 million. All right, what's $100,000? I can sacrifice that. But to a man who's only ever seen $100,000 in his life, he's probably gonna do whatever it takes to get it, even if it means morally compromising himself to do it. So that's the equivalent.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, though, the reason why I asked the question is because we also got to take some ownership. Yeah, but if we're going to say that we tired of these black women and we done had enough of them, then you can't go lay up with them after you say that. Yep, and that's the issue. Yep, and then we'll tend to want to blame it on we just got to get it, or we just got to take it. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. If I done had enough of this person, and that's why I know, let's say there's some cap out here, and this is not directed at you, Joe, but I know that there's some cap out here. Yep, I see guys saying stuff like that a lot. I said I'm in a lot of these conversations online, so I hear this a lot. Yep, black men have had enough of these black women. They divest in, they whatever, but then they're still sleeping with them. So it's like, if you honestly have had enough of somebody, you don't want to have nothing to do with that person, even if they do try to give you a freebie. And that's the breakdown. So we gotta own that when we talk about this trauma, when we talk about having issues finding these feminine women, when we talk about having issues finding a wife and a woman who wants to get in position and support our program and what we got going on, well, we got to acknowledge the piece that we may be traumatizing our options. Yep, and this is why we can't find her, because we done traumatized her already. Yeah, we done ran through her already. We done damaged her already. And that may explain why you can't find her now, because the funny thing about it is we will say that we had enough of these black women or these women that look like us, we will go take advantage of that situation and we will extract the sex from that woman, but then we will then go back and tell that same woman, you not marriageable. Yep, and that don't work. So yeah, that's really the reason why I asked that is because that is an ownership question. As men, we gotta own that. Yeah, we gotta own that we are playing an active position in why we can't find the women that we say we want.
I just want to say this last thing, and I'm gonna run.
Go ahead.
A lot of people, you had put up a clip that was asking why women don't want good men or something along those lines, and a lot of it is men and women both don't. I believe a lot of people intentionally pick people that they know are not good companions so that they have an excuse to, you know what I mean, to leave the situation well, you know, because they really don't want something that's gonna last. And like you said, the people that they come across that would make good potential partners, they use and abuse those and traumatize them, and then, oh, you know, that didn't work out, instead of, you know what I mean. So a lot of these people really don't want good working relationships, so they pick toxic people intentionally and pretend like they didn't know, because a lot of these people was letting folks know exactly who they are, so folks is acting blind, going into these situations, pretending like they didn't see, pretending like they didn't know that this person was who they was, and then complaining, oh, look at black women, oh, look at black men did. Every person that did you dirty, you picked them and allowed them to treat you the way they did. Men and women both. And then they go back, both people going back, oh, they black women is so whatever, black men is this and that, based on the people they attracted to them because of their own toxicity. Like you said, like y'all just said. That's what that is.
No, I understand. No, and I appreciate that right there. Beatbox, I saw you hop off, man. You good?
Sorry, yeah. What cool thing to jump on what she said. Like, so I used to have a buddy of mine, black guy, complaining about the women he was dealing with. Right. He found it. He was with a girl for a while, for about a year, and he would complain about her all the time. And I kind of told him, like, hey, bro, like, all due respect, like, I don't want to hear about that anymore. You keep messing with her. Like, I don't want to hear about her doing this to you because you picked her. Like, Judge Judy, I love Judge Judy because she would say things like, you picked this person. Like, this is who you picked, right? So you can't complain about who you picked. So, like, dude, I want to hear it. So he got mad, didn't talk to me for about a couple months, comes back to me and says, hey, bro, let's talk. I meet up with him. He's all, I got her pregnant. I'm like, okay. All right. So I told him, like, all right, all due respect, if you want to be my friend, we can't talk about this. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about the baby, this chick, nothing. Right? So he kept it to himself for a while. Then about a year after that, he says, we're drinking, we're hanging out. He's like, I got her pregnant again. So then I told him, hey, you can't be my friend anymore. Like, I can't talk to you. And he was like, why? It's like, well, one, I don't hang out with people who just have babies willy-nilly. Me personally, I just don't do it. I just can't do that. And also, you're just an idiot. And I don't want to be around you and you complain about this person forever. All I'm saying is to say this because he was one of those guys who would complain about, you know, black women all the time, but he kept doing stupid stuff like that. I'm like, dude, it's not them, it's you. That was the last thing I said. You are the problem. You didn't even like this lady. You talk crap about her all the time, how ugly, all this stuff. And you had 2 kids by her. One of them's a daughter. She's going to be a black daughter. And you're talking like that. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear that. That's your problem. So I want to make sure, like, how I'm coming across. I think me and Jared are kind of the same boat. There are certain things that we've dealt with. But there's certain things as a black man, if a black man starts saying crazy stuff, I'm not talking to you. Like, I'm just not going to do it. You got to take accountability for what you're doing. And I don't have anybody, black, white, or wherever around me, who has babies like that willy-nilly complaining about women all the time and then wants to say, oh, well, oopsie, my bad. Like, nah, bro. Nah, we're not doing that.
No, I agree with you. No, we definitely ain't doing that. All right, let me I can't keep us on here too much. Let's say no more long. We got to get up out of here. I'm gonna take some closing and we gone. I'm gonna go across top, bottom, and we out of here. Coco, you want to say something before we get out of here?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it brief. So 2 things that I think needs to happen on both sides, right? Because we're equal accountability, right? I think men do need to hold themselves accountable for this piece. I think this was an awesome question. Men, you have to hold yourself accountable for the trauma that you are causing. You have to hold yourself accountable for the decisions that you are making. You do have a choice, right? Just like you guys run around, this is you guys' point. It's not mine. That you guys control the gateway to relationships and marriage, and women control the gateway to sex, right? That's what y'all said. That's what y'all said. So if you know you don't, there's no remote chance that you're going to be in any kind of relationship with this woman for real, then why even get her to the point where she's willing to have sex with you? Like, why even do it? Like, let's not do it. You got to hold that L. That's on y'all. Women, on the flip side, stop getting on the internet talking about how we're all the masculine men that protect and provide and open doors and pull out chairs and lay jackets over puddles. Like, you guys killed that when y'all, like old girl said, y'all killed that when y'all became INDEPE. Y'all killed that. Y'all, it's gone. You did that. So do men follow? In this sense, they have followed you guys. You guys have said you didn't need them. You said you were independent. You said I could do bad all by myself. You guys, and not only you've been saying it, and then you double down on it. So men are like, okay, cool. Y'all don't need us. So then this is what will have a man showing up on your door for sex and sex only. Y'all start, I'm going to say the thing you're not supposed to say. Y'all start hunching for free. You never should have started hunching for free. Hunching was our meal ticket. Why did y'all start hunching for free? Not every man want all of us to hunch for free. Y'all start hunching for free. Now that's the standard. Now the good girls too. Now they looking at us and they expect us to hunch like y'all. So now we over here trying to be modest. We trying to keep it clean. We trying to date to get to know you first before we go that route with you. But now they looking at us like something wrong with us because we don't want to hunch. Because y'all start hunching for free. Then want to turn around and ask you why he want to take you to get some coffee. Because the dudes y'all hunching on didn't even have to buy you a cup of coffee. So it's like, y'all have to hold that L, ladies. Y'all did that. So now this is the situation that we are in. I know you don't like it. I know you don't like it. But if you don't like it, there is still, I believe, that for the ones who get it, it's not over. It's not over for the ones who get it. But for the rest of y'all, yeah, it is over. You hang it up. It's done.
Okay. Appreciate that closeout. Beatboxes. You want to say anything before we get out of here, man?
Hunching is a great word. Yeah, I do agree with Coco. Like it's a duality. Yeah, like men don't lie. Just like be upfront. There's gonna be women who will still do you anyway. So just be upfront about it. To be honest, if you're not really into her, just tell her the truth. It is what it is.
Hold
on the other,
you got it.
Sorry, on the other end, like Coco said, that dynamic now of things being for free, it's kind of sucks. But I think women just kind of have to like navigate that, because I think people who are really intentional, men and women who want to get together, they're gonna find each other at some point. So, yeah, be strong out there, because it kind of sucks, because everybody's trying to hunch for free, do things for free, scam for free. I'm gonna use hunching from now on. Coco, that's a great word. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's wild. Let me make sure I'm saying that. Is that Marjorie?
Marjorie.
Marjorie. All right. It's
My mama got creative in the ghetto. I just want to say, women get stronger. Women need to be stronger. Quit being comfortable being side chicks. Quit being comfortable being baby mamas. Like, set a standard. I personally believe that is in the hands of women. When women get stronger, men will have to comply. If we, you know what I mean? If we truly band together, like valuing ourselves, and men valuing themselves too. But I believe if women get stronger, men will have, like just like Miss Coco said, if it's less of us out here giving it away for free, men gotta like, dang, I gotta settle down now because like Keisha down the street, she ain't giving up no more, and then Sheila, she ain't giving it no more. You know, this one don't want to be a baby mama no more. For real, it gotta happen. I think it's in the hands of women.
Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate that closeout, Cole. You want to say anything before we get out of here, Cole? I know you just hopped on. You want to say anything at all?
Just again, PSA to both parties. Stop the garbage. Stop spreading the garbage. Like, it's enough of that. It's enough of it. Be the example that you want to see, and stop this garbage. That's it.
That's facts. Appreciate that right there. Joe, it's on you. You want to say anything before we get out of here, man?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, well, I will say that this is a panel, and there are grown men on here, and we are free to say what we want to say on this panel in relation to the topic, whether it's about black women, foreign women, white women, black men, white men, whatever is related to. If you have an issue with that, then that's actually kind of one of the problems in itself, is that you feel a need, or a lot of women, not just black women, to police what men will say, how they think, how they feel, what they should talk about, what they shouldn't talk about. It's really not your place to do that. And there is a way to go about doing it in a way that's not so, don't do this, don't say that, don't do this. Because B-Boxer just talked about black men. And I honestly talk about my own black male friends. But I don't see you rising up to the occasion about that. It's only when it's talking about black women in particular, you don't like it. Which I get it because you're a black woman. And a lot of black women feel that way, which in itself is a problem because we talk about ourselves, we talk about men in our lives, we talk about everything. So you don't want to do the selective hearing and the selective policing when it comes to, especially talking about men, because we are still men at the end of the day. So, so that's that. Lastly, I talk to a lot of black women here in Brazil, and they're lovely, they're kind. It's mostly a culture thing. So when I'm speaking about black women, it's like that's just how they are in America. It's just the attitude. It's not existent here. I've been all over now. They're darker in most cases than myself, and they're very kind. They're very sweet. I would marry. I would want to date one of them in a heartbeat. They're just different in the way they carry themselves. So it's not about skin color. It's about the culture. It's about the values they raise up on, and that's just the way it is. So I would say for a lot of men, if they're having issues, yeah, maybe they are attracting those type of women. That's a possibility. But sometimes you just end up getting around shit that you don't really attract. It's just there. You can't say, oh, it's your fault that you caused the car accident if you was at the wrong place in the wrong time. And for some men, that's the case. In some cases, it is their problem. Some cases, they're just bad drivers. So I would just tell men to explore their options, and same thing with women. They feel like they can get better elsewhere, then go better elsewhere. But firstly, they have to work internally on themselves to see if, okay, what can I do to improve myself to attract a better person? Oh, well, it's the environment. I need to go to a different environment, a different place to where it aligns with my internal values, and then things click. Sometimes it's the opposite way. Sometimes it's the person who's attracting it, and they're like B-Box's friend. He hates the woman's guts, but he chooses to sleep with her and get her pregnant anyways. That's him. But then you have some men who actually have a problem, and it's not them. It's just the environment. It's as Chloe would say, it's pee in the dating pool. And so sometimes you have to go to a different pool to swim in because you're a better swimmer, and you can't tolerate the pee in the pool no more. So there's always nuances in these things, in these conversations. And that's what we're here to have. At least so I thought. So not a fan of the policing, not a fan of the wagging the finger, not a fan of it at all. But also still in the same breath, it's your free will to say that this is how you feel about it. So I support it, even though I disagree with it. And this just honestly, it's a big problem for a lot of men in general, not just black men. We just don't like that being stern talking to, like sit down and let me tell you a thing or two. That, see, yeah. And sometimes you just don't even realize it, but they do it. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. But sometimes some people might address it, like myself, even though we don't
Gotcha.
have to. So, anyways, on that note, I would say, man, I wish I could take y'all out here. I wish y'all could be here with me right now. It's a different kind of place. It's definitely different from Detroit. I tell you that right now. My God. Forget about the women, forget about the beauty. It's just the weather, the sunsets. It's just, you can't even imagine how great of a place this is. And I wish everybody would forget about Brazil, but wherever they want to travel, wherever they want to go in the world, whatever dreams they have, that they pursue it with aggression and that they achieve that dream because it's worth it. It was worth the sacrifice. It was worth the hell. It was worth the pain. It was worth it all. So on that note, you guys have a great night and I will see
One
you.
second, Joe. 1 second before you go. I want to ask you a question about something that you just said.
Okay.
You mentioned, women tone policing men, and to a certain degree, I've seen that myself, right? I guess how do we handle that, like from a male perspective? Because I've also seen men literally attack women for women simply disagreeing for them. And I know this to be true because it happened to me. I literally have been attacked several times. I get attacked in the comments all the time. And I just want to know, like, men are very aggressive in this space, and we're not even red pill, but men are very, very aggressive towards women in this space. Very, very.
Great.
And I'm not saying there aren't some women that are disrespectful because we know we've come across some of those as well. But I guess how do you handle that, right? Because I feel like there's a level of honesty, and sometimes I think people mistake the honesty for it being an attack or for it being a talking down to, when someone's just being honest and maybe we don't agree with what they're saying or we just don't like how it feels. And I'm wondering, is there any truth to that? Because how would you want someone to say it? If someone is telling you they don't agree with your ideology, your theology, or let's just be honest, with the way you live life or with the way you look at something, I'd like to think that that's probably going to be not received well by anybody. It's going to probably be hard to hear regardless of who's saying it to you. Just like when Bebop, like, he had to tell his friend, don't talk to me about that no more. Like, I'm sure that his friend probably was like, dang, for real? Like, but that's how he felt, right? Like, just don't talk to me. I don't like the way you live in your life. So I don't even want to do it with you, right? Like, that's a tough, like, how do you give someone that level of truth? How do you give someone that level of, how do you do that and not come off strong or not come off like you're drawing a line in the sand? Because basically that's exactly what you're doing. So how do you do that? How do you do that in a way where it doesn't come off to that person like how it's coming off? Because sometimes that's being said. Like, that's it is just a hard thing to say. It's a hard thing. So how do you do that without it coming off like that?
A good question. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about everything you said. You're not wrong about it. I really wish I could just like describe tangibly what that is. But I can say that when I know I'm out of line with a woman or she's kind of like not feeling it, it's just something I notice. It's something I feel. It's not so much she has to say to me. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a look. It's like a look, it's a vibe, it's kind of like, okay, I'm off. But she doesn't have to like give a directive like, oh, you're doing this wrong or you're doing this bad. And I've had a lot of that from some women, and they may have been right, but the way it comes off to me, it's aggressive, and it's like kind of like a man. But there are some women who just do it in such a way that I have to actually sit down and think about how it's done, because I will find myself changing my ways or saying, okay, this was not right, or she doesn't like this, or let me adjust it here. and she doesn't really have to say so much. Oh, I hate this, or I hate that. I hate that. It's like subtle things, and I don't really know how women do it, to be honest with you. It's just something I experienced enough times to know the difference between a woman who does it in a womanly way, and a woman who does it in a masculine way. Like in the way that I would speak to beatbox would be like, "Hey man, hey do boom boom boom," and that's kind of like that's the energy I get. But then with a woman, it's like the opposite, but she still can get her way in the sense of getting me to agree with her without her necessarily have to make me agree with her. And I really don't know how to explain more than that verbally what that even looks like. I just know what it feels like from having experiences with different women who employ that. It's like to me it's like magic. I don't know how to explain it. I wish I could describe it more and give you a concrete. This is how they do it, but it's just something. It's like a charm beneath the. It's like a charm there, and they're just like, oh well, oh I don't really like when you did that, or they're not saying it, but it's like it's like a I don't know energy telecommunication. Oh, she's not really feeling that. She backed off a little bit, but she just kind of gave me a look, or she's just kind of like, oh my goodness. It's not her giving a directive. It's not very stern. It's not very, boom, boom, direct, straightforward. It's kind of like sort of indirect, but you kind of get it. And that's just something women are good at. And that's it. I'm sorry, Chloe. I wish I could be more articulate with it, but that's the best way I can explain it. Now, I'm not saying I'm against what Cole said. I think what she said, she's right that vast majority of the space, it is women bashing. And I'm not for that. I just don't think it's not enough time in the world to do that to black women. But then there's just certain topics that come up. It's like, okay, we go talk about it. And it might be about anything. It just happened to be that particular topic. And it's just what it is. But the way she said it, it's like that's just not what I'm used to when it comes to women who do it in their own way, and to where they get their way without having to make that. I don't know. That's it. I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I'm going around in circles.
No, I hear you. I hear
Making
you. No,
sense?
I hear you. I hear you. And I do understand. I do understand. And I'm glad that you expanded on it. And I'm glad I asked the question to give you a chance to expand on it, because I was really just trying to hear your heart, right, behind what you're saying. And basically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, in essence, you're saying that it's not it's not the correction. It's the way the correction is given, and when it's coming from a place of and I'll just use this word because this is the key. When it's coming from a place of love, like you have a level of care for that person, and so you're correcting them because this is something that you feel like an area they can improve on, right? Or you feel like you have some insight that you could give them that could help them, as opposed to it's coming off a bit aggressive, or it's coming off what feels maybe disrespectful, or it's coming off in that way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, essentially, yes. Because even my tour guide, she would do, I guess, corrections, or I wouldn't even call it correction. It was just she had an opinion about things. But the opinion that she gives me about things doesn't come off in the same way that a man would do it. So it's like an easier landing in a sense. Where men were just more aggressive that way. That's how we go at each other. We choo 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 choo. But the woman, when she wants to get her point across, she has to do it in a certain way that it can't be combative, or it can't feel that way to me. So I guess she just has to just know how to do that. How she can do that, I don't know. Just that some women are just great at doing it. It's like, oh, I see your point. Even if I didn't agree with her, it's like, oh yeah, that's actually. But if she did it in a different way, or said it a different way, or was more like, I don't think you should do this, or I don't think you should do that, and it's like, oh, okay. So we go there. So it's go like that. But she's like, oh well, it's kind of like, no, I don't really agree with that. And it's a softer.
Okay.
It's just a way
We got
women
you.
do it. Does that
Yeah.
make
Yeah,
sense?
no,
I
yeah, we
think
got
I think I think maybe what we can do as women, I'm speaking to ladies now, is if men are saying to us that it's not that they feel as though we can't correct them, if they actually need correction, it's that they're saying we're not being respectful, like we're not being considerate of how that feels for them to receive that correction, how we're giving it, right? So, and I think that's valuable feedback, because if we're saying that women are coming off a little bit more aggressive, then this is something that obviously as women we need to work on. We're in spaces probably where that aggression, that level of aggression is maybe necessary or needed, or we're in positions where maybe we have to be a little bit more pushy, and maybe we're struggling to know when to pull that back. So we take that as feedback, and then ladies, we have to do what we need to do with that. We have to govern ourselves accordingly based off of that, because we probably all could take it down a notch. I know me, when I speak, I'm very passionate about what I say. I mean, my hands are flying all over the place and I'm doing all kinds of things. So that's just feedback. You know what I'm saying? That's just feedback, and we have to take that. That's why I asked. I'm like, where are we going with this? Like, what are you trying to say? Right. So no, I appreciate that.
Well, Chloe, I would say, Chloe, lastly, that you have corrected me on a few things before that I was like, I don't really agree, but it's the way you said it. And it's the way you're it's just the way you did it. And I was like, I'll think about that. It's just different. I don't know. It's just the way you did it. It was like, it's masterful to me. I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, I got it. But coming from a man, I would receive it in a more aggressive tone, because that's just the way we speak with each other. But when you do it to me, and it's like, okay, it's not me thinking, oh, because she's a woman, I can't accept feedback or I can't accept correction. It's just a different way you have to do it. And when you do it, and you have done it, I listen. I'm not like zoning out thinking, oh, here's another woman talking, or she's just telling me what. No, it's just when you're giving me correction, it's a certain way that you do it. I listen to it, I'm like, oh, I feel that. Okay, I understand that. I get it. Let me work on that. She got a point there, right? But then it's the more very stern, like we men do, that it's like, I can't receive that, because it feels very, it's a very masculine energy, it's aggressive. And you could be right, but now it's going to be hard for me to receive it, because now it's like the dynamics is different. Whereas if you was a man doing it to me, I will receive it. But coming from a woman, it's like, oh, nah, man, I'm still a man at the end of the day. So it's just the way you go about doing it. That's all.
I got you. No, I got you, Joe. Let me let Cole get in on this. You want to go ahead, Cole?
Okay, so honestly, I would like to know the specific situation, because I believe in operating in transparency. And to the comment about that is a different perspective. As someone who has to deal with like a diversified voice of people, men and women in different cultures, I think also an additional layer would be like maybe to diversify your ears, because I feel like it kind of seems like to me it comes off like everything has to be said in a specific way for me to listen, when everybody may not even know how to deliver the same way. So it's like, are we focusing on exactly what's being like, are we just stopping at the tone, which is face value, or are we really listening on what's being said? And I'm just saying that for me and my experience, like specifically something work related, where I deal with a diverse range of people and different voices and cultures and men from different levels of aggression, where I've had to learn to kind of diversify my own ears and be like, okay, if something's coming off aggressive, how do I disarm that to get to the root of what I'm trying to probably understand or solve for? Um, so that's just my like question and
But
thought on that.
so my question, my follow, working with a diverse group of people, do you find that would then give you actually more insight on how you have to speak maybe differently based off your audience? Like, would that train you a little bit more to be like, okay, well, I'm talking to this person, so I got to deliver this way to them, or I'm talking to this person, so I got to deliver it this way to them? Do you find that would actually broaden, your perspective of how to speak to different people in different ways?
Yeah, it's not just the listening part; it is definitely also the response.
So let me say this. I'm glad we having this dialogue, right? I think this is important. I know we was in closing, and I know sometimes this is how this goes, right? Jay, I ain't forget about you, but I'm glad we having this dialogue. Yep, as a people, especially in this relationship space, this is one of our issues, right? We struggle to communicate with each other effectively. Yeah, we can say things to each other, but can we communicate to each other effectively? Leaving emotions out of it, leaving feelings out of it. Like that's a part of our issue right now. And I said that plays into why we have such a hard time getting with each other and connecting, successfully, to start relationships. So now, once again, I'm glad that this dialogue is happening, right? So this is the type of stuff that we have to do. This is honestly why we created this show. Yeah, we have to have these type of conversations so that we can move forward in a better direction collectively. Yeah, so the way that you talk to folks is important. Yeah, the tone that you use is important. Yeah, your perspective as you're talking to somebody is important. The way that you feel about the opposite sex is important when you have these conversations, because it will come out in your conversations. Yeah, because at the end of the day, ain't none of us bad, right? We all got things we need to work on. We all got things that we need to improve. Yep, and all of this is not the fault of just one gender. If it falls on both sides, we both have things that we are doing wrong in these situations, but it starts with communicating. Yep, and being able to have a dialogue between a man and a woman of the same skin color and be able to do it successfully to get to some type of successful outcome that makes for a better situation in the future. That is the goal. Yep. So I'm glad that Coco was able to give her input on it. I'm glad that Cole was able to give her piece. I'm glad that Joe was able to give his response. Yeah, we have to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? When we talking to somebody or correcting somebody, we have to do it with some tact. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, so I'm glad we had this conversation right now. But I got to get to JR, then I got to get us out of here. JR, you still with us, man?
Y'all remember the
Yeah.
Will Smith? Of course, y'all remember the Will Smith slap. It's
Oh,
just the way. It was like that. It was like, keep black woman's name out your mother effing me. That's
well,
that's
that
what
too.
it's like.
Well, that was
Crazy.
a whole other thing. Hold that thought, Joe. Hold that thought. Let me get JR through here. I got it. Let me get him through here. JR, you still there, man?
Yeah. I want to say thanks once again for having me on, dropping with the panel.
No doubt, no
Yeah,
doubt.
I'll say this. Black men, keep speaking your truth of what it is, because that's just the reality of life. Because this is probably the first time, maybe in history, a black man's able to actually voice their opinion regarding black women. And now one can deem that it might be bashing, one can deem that it's the truth, right? Now, the reason why we've got to put a plaster over, the situation is because they don't want to have the conversation. Hence why you speak the truth about black women, right? And then the response is black men are dumb. That's us putting a plaster over the conversation. There's no conversation to have. Yet, not once, right? Whether, like I said, one can deem, hey, that's not the truth, or perceive it not to be the truth, right? That's just reality of life. No one sat there and challenged back regarding what the truth could be about black men being dumb, right? Yet, black men are speaking on their truth regarding black women, and it's bashing. So what? Calling black men dumb, what do we call that? Because one can deem it to be the truth, right? So what do we call it? So are they here to really have a conversation? Nah, they're here to have a conversation. Of course, we have a conversation, right? But they don't have a conversation in good faith. And that's just the sad reality. Because truth be said, beatboxer, we come from the same generation or whatever it is. I'm probably a couple of years younger than him or whatever it is. Yeah, there is a lot of black men experiencing this. Like I keep saying, we talk about the black woman's experience from the black man? When are we going to have the conversation about the black man's experience with the black woman? When? And to finish off, I think it was Marjorie. Obviously, she said what she said, and you know, that goes back to the point that I made right at the beginning, right, where to your question, Mr. Price, about black men, not desiring black women for a relationship, but still desiring them for sex and whatnot. One can concede on that part there, and be like, you're not lying. How else can you divert from that question, whether you say it's desires and all that stuff, whatnot? It's still not right. So one can concede on that part. But like I said, men are gonna be men, and for some ladies, they do understand that they do hold the power in that. And like I said, it's not to take that accountability off the man. And I keep saying, if ladies do what they do, right, the whole accountability comes off them immediately and it falls onto the man. The woman can't get it, like I keep saying, she can't get the finger pointing at her like, you also done this, because we're trying to bring the men right back into it, right? And I'm saying, yeah, we're playing a part, but all the men are saying, it's like, hey, ladies, if you all come together and we're not open our legs, by default, men have to change by default, and we're just going to get a much better outcome, in a sense of there's no manipulation from either party. We're coming in with the truth, and the truth is we want to do things with the right intentions. But let's not miss out the part that the man still wants sex, right? Let's not miss out that part. But we want to do it under the right circumstances. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that men aren't void of partaking in this situation. All we're saying is, ladies, because you hold a card to that, if the man takes it from you and you say no, we're in trouble. But how can we keep saying, hey, guys, switch up, when Miss Price said, hey, they're hunting for free, they're hunting for free. What else are men supposed to do if they're giving that for free? It's never been easier. I don't know. Okay, the time before, I don't know. But today, Mr. Price, for the guys that can get it, why am I going to tell you to close your legs, Mr. Price? It don't make sense.
JR, what, man? JR, hold on, man. Man, hold on. No, JR, I ain't even about to let this ride. Let's check this out, JR. Then we gonna be done with this, man. Let me say this. Because I see y'all.
He knows what I'm talking about, Mr.
No,
Price.
it's all good. I got you.
Mr. Price.
I got you. I got you, JR. We about to go there. JR. I see you came from me earlier, so now it's time for us to go there. So let me say this. Some of this is a man problem. And let me just put it like this. And I'm gonna keep it as blunt as I can keep it. As a man, if you can't function out here in this world and you don't have enough strength in yourself to turn down some ass, you got a problem. Let me keep it a buck. Now don't come off mute, Joe. Let me have this with JR. Don't come off mute. If you can't turn down a piece of ass as a grown ass man, then you got a problem. I don't care how free it is. I done walked past many of free samples at Sam's Club. I done walked past free samples at the grocery store. I done turned down money. I done turned down deals because it wasn't right. So as a man, regardless of what your needs is and your functions or whatever else you done convinced yourself of, if you can't turn down a piece of ass as a grown ass man, then we got a problem. And that's just facts. I don't care how you want to swing it, how you want to twist it, and whatever else. And the same thing goes for a woman. As a woman that considers yourself a grown-ass woman, if you can't turn down a piece of D, then you got a problem. Yeah, we got to stop with some of these excuses out here. Yeah, we got to stop with some of these excuses out here. Just because somebody throws something in your face don't mean you got to take it. And I don't know where we get this mentality. Yep, I don't know where we get this mentality. And I'm going to give y'all a prime example. Yep, a lot of dudes today will go around here and say that they looking for a woman that ain't been out here like that. They looking for a woman who ain't been ran through. She ain't been giving it up to all these dudes because we consider that to be special. Yeah, that's a special woman. She got self-control. She respects her body. She don't just let anybody have access to her. So we will say that that lady is a high priority find. If I can find me a lady who ain't been in the streets and she ain't for the streets, that's the one I'm willing to marry. But then in the same breath, we'll come back and say, we don't have no control. Yeah, we got to just take it. And that don't align because, see, we understand that the person that has that self-control, she valuable. Yeah, that's the one I want. Even though I'm out here playing with these other ones, when it come down to me committing and putting my last name on somebody, I'm going to go get the one who had some self-control. So as a man, you can't value that woman, but then you be out here with no self-control. Yeah, that don't make sense. So I agree with you to a certain extent, JR. Yes, we can go out here and we can tell ladies that they need to close their legs. But at the same time, if we gonna say that and take that position, we also got to be able to tell a man that you ain't got to sleep with every chick just because she throwing it at you. Yeah, everybody got to hold themselves accountable, man. Yep, I hear y'all. I see y'all in y'all position, but it's like everybody got to hold themselves accountable. Yeah, I'm not sure when men got so weak out here. Yep, I'm not sure when men got so weak out here. Yeah, I've seen situations where ladies tried to throw it at a certain dude. And he's like, no, I'm good because I know you trouble. Yep, I know you've been running around with all the other fellas in school. I don't want you. I know you've been running. I don't want you. But now we acting like we can't turn it down. It almost sounds like a drug addiction or something. Like, what's going on? Yep, so as a man, if you're going to stand on man business, if you're going to call yourself a leader, if you're going to call yourself a provider and say that you want this woman to get on your program and align what you got going on, you can't be moving like that. Yep, because that doesn't say that. Yep, if these ladies who are saying that they willing to get on your program and be a wife and support what you got going on, one of the main things is she gonna need to feel like she's safe, she's protected, she's covered. But at the same time, if that same man is sitting here saying that he can't pass up on a piece of ass because somebody threw it at him, then how is that supposed to make her? How's she gonna feel protected in that situation? So now I just got to say that, man. Y'all can't keep acting like y'all can't bypass a piece of ass, man. Like that's crazy to me. Yeah, that is crazy to me because as a man, you have to have more power and discipline than that. It can't be that easy. I mean, do y'all not realize that that's been the downfall of man since the beginning of time? Like, let's keep it a buck. Do y'all realize that a piece of ass, like I said, I'm being blunt tonight. Do y'all realize that a piece of ass has been the downfall of a man since the beginning of time? Like, we ain't figured that out.
Whole kingdoms.
We ain't figured that out in 2025.
Oh no, we know this, Mr. Pro. Like I said, hey, listen, you ain't wrong, man.
But y'all still laying up with it though, JR.
Oh no, you're not wrong. That's what Beatbox is nodding his head, right? He gonna snap his neck soon. But hey, listen, the way he knows what I'm talking about. Does that make sense? That's what I'm saying.
Let Beatboxer speak up. Beatboxer, come on, Mike.
Don't do him, JR. Don't do him.
Come off mute, Beatboxer.
Nah, Mr.
Speak
Price
up
ain't
what's
wrong with his
going
response,
on,
but
man.
Beatboxers, yeah, like I say, he gonna snap his neck off, right? Because he's nodding with Mr. Price, he agreeing. We all agree it's wrong, but he knows what I'm talking about.
Beatboxer, you got to speak up for yourself, man.
Listen, I'm sorry. You're cooking, Mr. Price. It was great. But so I have discipline personally. That's why I don't hang out like my friend who I said I cut off guys who don't have discipline. It ain't happening. Like I can't be around you. Have I been weak? Yeah, before I met my wife, I'm gonna be honest. I mean also like we got married real young. We got married when we were 25, right? So I did well before my wife. I was doing what I was doing, right? But I'm one of those guys. I don't really care about technical body counts and all that stuff because I don't give. If I meet you, you're a decent person. I don't care. I understand what Jr. and is it Joseph?
Joe, yeah.
I get what they're saying. They're saying there's at least a plurality. I can't speak this word. It's not the majority of men, but there's a decent amount of men out here who will do whatever it takes, and that's that. They don't care. They don't give a damn what they'll like. A woman's thrown at them, like, yeah, let me do that, right? But your question that you were saying is that because I think they might be missing the point a little bit. If you're saying like, hey, I have issues with a particular group of women, i.e., black women, why are you still messing with them, right? So I also say that same thing, right? If there are black guys out there who are complaining about, oh, black women are this or that, then stop. Like I don't get that. Like as I said before, either you deal with yourself, it might be you. I mean, Joseph said like you might need to go somewhere else. That's true, right? But if you're continuously having this issue, don't sleep with them. Damn, like it's like you're like a little kid putting your hand on the hot stove every time. Like you might burn yourself, you might not, right? But like it's gonna probably more if you keep going back to the well that you claim is bad, right? You might get sick. So I don't get why, especially in that's red pill space is a whole nother conversation. But yeah, man, like me personally, I am disciplined. I don't care what a woman is. Like if I know she's bad news, it ain't happening. Like if she was like back in the day, if I knew she wasn't taking her birth control like Skittles, I'm not talking to you. I'm not gonna have sex with you. There's nothing to talk about. If you're not taking care of yourself and your body and you don't care, then I'm not doing that. If I know you might physically hurt me for whatever reason, because women, you can tell when some women are like, I call them forehead pokers, right? You might say one wrong thing to them, they start trying to beat you up and hit you. I'm not talking to them. I'm not going to have sex with that person. But too many of our melanated men will do whatever it takes for 5 minutes of action. No, thank you. I'm not doing that.
I feel you. All right, I just had to go and let you speak for yourself. All right, Jr. Was you done? Was you done, man? Or you got something else you want to get off your chest, man?
Yeah, no, I was just saying that. Yeah, no, you're not wrong, right? Obviously, I'm just speaking more in terms of what it is today, and like I said, I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's wrong, and I think I was more just speaking on like in a sense of most men have been there, where you just loosely out there, and then as you grow up, common sense kicks in. Of course, beatboxer got the game at 25 or whatnot. I'm at the game, I got my girlfriend and whatnot. So it's like, okay, so eventually it's like, being out, you start to understand, like you say, value yourself or whatnot. So I think it's just one of those things where conversation needs to be had on the men's side, where it's like, we've had these experiences, right? And some didn't get away with it. Some have gotten away with it. I don't have no kids, but some other guy would have got another lady pregnant. Oh yeah, it's split, all that stuff, she wasn't on it and all that stuff. So it does happen. So yeah, like I said, I was just speaking on what it is today. And like I said, you're not wrong in that men need to, of course, be accountable and control that desire and not take whatever comes your way, because not everything's good news. So like I said, you're not wrong there. And men, of course, do need to hold themselves accountable. And that's why I said we do partake in the mess, and we shouldn't complain if we do. So yeah, men need to actually play their part. And like I said, there's a lot of information out there. We've seen how the game's played out. It can get real messy if you don't take care of yourself. One time, that's what you can take, right? So yeah, you're not wrong there. So yeah, for the guys that are listening, find you your one, and yeah,
And leave it at
try
that.
and try and make that work the right way. So
Quay, your moral thermometer is far too high, my friend. You're right about everything. Everything you're right about it. But I'm talking, this is what is happening with men in the world. We will take the lowest common denominator. Oh, yeah, she's gonna give it up, so we go take it. And Chloe said, well, how does that does not traumatize women? Yeah, it does. Because women, now this is gonna sound crazy. I'm gonna leave it at this. Women have wanted me to perpetuate that trauma that they have experienced. I've seen it now, so I would choose not to engage in it, and they would ask me, "Well, why don't you want to do it?" So it's not even so much sometimes men, oh, I'm going to seek it out. Sometimes they're being offered to traumatize women, and a lot of men are kind of like, yeah, I guess I'm going to do it. Similar to like that one lady who had slept with 100 men. You have 100 men who probably haven't been laid in a long time or ever in their life, and they know that they're traumatizing the women, but then you have a woman who's inviting them to do so. So it takes two to tango. But I will still say, to Quay's point, it is a man's responsibility to have the most discipline because we're supposed to be the leaders. We're supposed to be in charge, supposed to have dominion over the earth. We're supposed to be the head, not the tail. So we're not supposed to follow after tail, literally, or after women. But a lot of men are so weak with their gonads that they do. And that is the majority. So when we see that example of 100 men sleeping, so when I hate saying the majority of men fall for it. But 100 men, that's a lot of men who know that they're not going to have a relationship with her. They just want to get their knocks out. They just want to do things to her and then be done with it. And then they get traumatized themselves. So yeah, it's bad. But it's very few men like beatboxer or like myself who choose to turn down beautiful women who would say, "Oh yeah, I've had this and I barely know you. Why do you want to sleep with me?" I would ask them this. Why do you want to sleep with me? Well, why don't you? Huh? Okay. Well, so you don't like me? That doesn't mean I don't like you. It just means I should probably wait. What's going on here? How many men? Oh, well, I guess I got to go. And they'll just go to the next guy who is willing to traumatize her, who's willing to lower their moral fiber and then say, I'm going to do it. I can't do it. It's hard for me. I've tried. I've actually tried to. I can't do it because it's just not in me. Very few men are like myself or beatboxer, who it's not in them to willingly do that to a woman. But a lot of men will lower it, and they all know it. They all know it, but they will lower it just enough to where they can engage in the act and say, well, hey, I had to do something.
No, I feel you, Joe. You just made a good point. And I think that's one piece that also is overlooked as well. Men do not understand that they're also traumatizing themselves. Yeah, see, partaking in all of the nonsense that you shouldn't partake in, you also can end up damaging yourself as you move forward in your journey. Yeah, you can make yourself less of a man for the woman that you say that you're looking for to be your wife and be your companion. So we also got to consider that as well. Everybody gets traumatized in the situation. Yep, everybody making soul ties in the situation. So we got to keep perspective of what's really happening out here while we out here playing some of these games that we playing and how it affects us long term. But man, shout out to my panel. Shout out to Coco Beatboxer. Shout out to my guy Vince earlier. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to JR. And I think that was Marjorie. I think that's how she said pronounce that. Appreciate everybody holding me down on the panel. Awesome conversation. Great show tonight. Shout out to everybody in the comments as well. Y'all was going crazy in the comments, so I appreciate that support. Man, I know this ran long, but I think this was very productive. Like I said, we touched on a few points outside of the videos that I think were instrumental in this conversation. I think it was an awesome conversation. It definitely was some solution dropping going on. And like I said, definitely productive. So I appreciate the whole conversation. This is Kandid Konvos. We do this show every Wednesday night, 8:30. We go live on YouTube and Facebook, so definitely hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe as well. Like I said, we are growing the platform. We are on our road to expand and to move things in a better direction. So we appreciate all the continued support from everybody in the comments and on the panel. But man, with that being said, everybody have an awesome night. We're going to catch y'all next Wednesday.